puppy? Are you happy, puppy? You happy, puppy? Yeah. Motherfucker. Motherfucker.
It's like it was right. Now I'm going to dive back into the wall by a long more.
Me and Randy promised each other after we lost $50 at the can toss, we'd walk away. So we did. Here, does that sound familiar to you? Come on, just go. Get back to your community and take a shot at Saint. Go, man. You got to warn me. Randy was right to think he looked familiar. He was number 35 on the list. A few years back, me and Randy heard you could make a fortune selling organs on the black market. At the time, we didn't know they were talking about livers and stuff. Hello, sir. We're here to pick up the organs for routine maintenance. We're trustworthy. Come on, Randy. Some of the creatures we used to attack us. You keep saying that, Randy, but if I remember correctly, that theory was given to you by a cricket when you were drunk. Besides, I'm a man of karma. I have to trust.
Yeah, the one that wrecking on the.
Come on, don't let me take a shot for now. You serious? Reverend, I'm just going to cut to the chase here. I stole your organ. We both did. Thanks, sir. He doesn't give me credit. So I told him all about my list, how I turned my life around. And then I learned he and the Reverend weren't that different. They used to call me Hans First. I used to roll the seats of cabin with Roger thinks up like that. Anyway, I'm a pretty bad guy. Turns out, shooting at the devil wasn't the first time the Reverend used a gun. One more time. If my niece Kiki invited to your daughter's birthday party. So I know it's like to put you right back on track. Heavenly Father, thank you for providing me with the forgiveness so I can prove my services to you. Amen. And don't worry, I can get that line back from the people I sold it to. I hear it survived the camera search squad in perfect condition. Mom's trying to put that fire out, but all they had was confetti in their buckets, and that just made it worse. We thought they were going to be here.
Stop crying.
Fix mistakes.
Don't lick my foot, you creep.
Have you changed your mind about calling the cops? Hell no. Because I forgot to turn you. Oh, please don't leave me here again, Joy. I won't call the police. Promise. Joy! Joy!
Me and Randy returned the organ and cleared the burnt clown confetti out of the pipes. Do it again, huh? All right, one more time. My name is Randy Hickey, and I love to smell my shoes. The guy put sitting in my shoe gallery, dropped the lawsuit down the door. Earl? They were all sold. Awesome. Because Randy had sort of worn out the girl stopped playing with the organ ghost. It's funny. Anyway, I'll just grab my tools and be on my way. Hold on a second. These are my tools. What you buy these? Like these are your tools? I know it's like Look, I could lie to you. I kind of want to because you already had to forgive me once, but looks like you're on the list twice. Back when I was a petty thief, I used to steal things that were, well, petty. And I used to do things that were kind of petty too. Check this out.
Oh my god.
It ran the door down. I kicked my way out through the empty and I said, whoever does this, I'm going to take him and put 6 feet under. But that was hash brown. And he's dead to us, right? Right? Right.
Okay.
Dear Lord, thank you for this glorious test. You're bringing it in. This is some good stuff. You are bringing it. Squeeze your hand, curses. Because, Lord, you know what the old me would have done. First, I would have cut open the big one. Then I would have knocked out the little one. Then put the little one inside the big one. Then folded up the big one. Then I would have raised up and listened for the little one to scream as he woke up inside his own book. But not now, Lord. I changed. And. But better man because of you, God. Amen. I said amen. Amen. But don't worry, right now. I'll make up for this too. Or if you really want to make it up, we need volunteers for Sunday school. Of course, we love to. Joy!
Oh, thank God, Connie, get me out of here. Your wife ran me over with this lawnmower and said he'd been here for days. We have to call the police. I know. You want to tell the cops. Of course I'm going to tell the cops, you lunatic. Liar, lunatic.
Shut up, everybody, shut up. You gotta think.
I got 2 strikes. I can't get a jail for the rest of my life, baby.
Damn it, Joy, I've used every trick I have to keep you from getting that third strike. Frame down principle, free craft the Asian meter maid, replace the panda at the zoo. That's what I'm thinking thrown in the big house and I'm left raising the boys on my own.
If you don't move this lawnmower soon, you're both going to jail. And I'm going to sell my story to Hollywood where the written movie star in jail is me and Sally Struthers is you.
I told you, I'm John Trump, but no, you couldn't listen to me. You just do whatever you want, whatever you want. All that matters to you is that you're happy. Well, I hope you're happy now. Because we didn't have to kill her. Why?
Oh.
Now, I know I said I wanted your help, but we can't kill her. We ran out of time, but we can't kill her.
There's nothing we can say to her to convince her not to go to the cops. I'm stuck very specific moral hierarchy. God, family, country. Scripture said my wife can no longer exist. We've got no other choice. We have to kill her.
Do I understand this?
No.
No, we've been friends for almost 10 years.
And I like him. I kill people like way more than you.
I kill people I like.
Daniel, I came to here for him because you're always the voice to raise it.
And I still am. I need to shut your hole and start digging me.
Ah!
When I agreed to help with the Sunday service, I thought I'd be handing out the crackers. I was wrong.
Forget this. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's an easy thing to say, but it's a hard thing to do. This is my friend.
Hi, my name is White. I mean Earl.
Now, this man has done some pretty terrible things to me. But I didn't have to come down here and confess what he did. So the truth and let it out. And I forget.
Hi.
You see, that is a twofold test that
Hi,
God has
baby.
made for us. Can you confess your sin? And can you repent of your sins? Now, you know that you have done something to somebody. And you also know that somebody has done something to you. But what God is saying, He wants you to let it out. He doesn't want you to let it fester all in your gut.
Cooking as well.
Soul down in your body, in your bones. He wants you to let it out.
Oh.
All the times when I ask people how they doing,
I don't finish this into the hands. I forgive you. Do it, I forgive you.
I hate you.
I just love sex.
I forgive you. Do it, I forgive you. I trust you. Believe on that. If these men would have been far too close,
We can have it. I have something to confess.
I love this one, Jack.
I slept with her.
What?
Oh, shut up! So, Lord,
Yes, thank you for the love.
apparently so. About 10 years back, me and Randy figured out that prison is a great place to pick up chicks. You just had to do it right.
Thank you so much for getting me out of jail and back home to care for my sad, lonely wife. No need to thank me, son. That's what I do. I'm a prisoner's advocate. There is one thing I don't understand. You are expensive because you are the best. But how could my wife afford your services? We are so poor. She had relations with me. I know you must be mad, though. I'm so relieved to be out of prison that I forgive her. In fact, I would be angry
Yeah,
if she
can't
had
bite
not
that now,
done
can you?
everything she could. Thanks again. Enjoy your glorious freedom.
No, don't bite Mama. I'm already hurt.
Can you really
Hey.
Wiki. I'll do my best.
You are kind.
Good night, Eddie. So, while I was in prison, you were brought into a Jeff Foxworth deal, man?
Reverend, first of all,
Hmm?
thank you about Jeff Foxworth. And
Now what?
regarding your wife,
Go quick, go get it.
feel better. It only
Get your
happened
phone.
at your house once.
Westward. Oh, Lord. Please give me the strength to forgive this low-life piece of stuff. You know what Hasbro would have done to a man who stole his phone.
Get your phone.
Please give me the strength. You seem pretty strong to me. Oh, Lord, I think I'm failing this test.
Oh, careful.
Please help me, Lord. Yeah, please do help
There you
me.
go.
Okay, Lord. I guess you want me to be Hasbro. That's why you're not helping me. Come on. You want me to be Hasbro? I'll be Hasbro.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to interpret, guys.
No.
We buy grain from local farmers and ship it east. It was a simple business built on trust and a sharp understanding of agricultural markets. A one-man operation, James Richardson and Sons, would grow into one of the most powerful private companies in the country. As Canada pushed west in the late 19th century, so did the Richardson Empire. The family became pioneers in the Canadian grain industry, building a network of elevators across the prairies and helping establish the Winnipeg Grain Exchange. For generations, the Richardson name has been synonymous with grain. But like all lasting old money families, the Richardsons knew they had to diversify. While agriculture is still their core business, they've expanded into a wide range of other sectors. Their holding company has major interests in financial services through Richardson, oil and gas, and commercial real estate. The entire empire is still privately owned and controlled by the family, now in its sixth generation. They operate quietly, avoiding the media and focusing on steady long-term growth. Their influence is felt most deeply in Winnipeg, where they have been a central pillar of the city's economic and civic life for over a century, supporting everything from the arts to healthcare. The Richardson family is the classic example of old money. Build a fortune,
my blanket, you dick.
diversify wisely, and quietly shape the economy from behind the scenes. At number 6, we have a family whose name once dominated Canadian retail, the Morgans. While they no longer control a vast commercial empire, their story is a key chapter in Canadian business history. The dynasty began in 1845 when Henry Morgan, a Scottish immigrant, co-founded a small dry goods store in Montreal. This humble shop eventually grew into Morgan's, Canada's first ever department store. Henry was an innovator, bringing the idea of a grand, luxurious.
If you were codependent, ask someone to press.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, you got your foot driving a Mercedes.
I went down to the water and I thought I was cool, and I went into the water and I stepped on something because when I got out of the water, I had a big gaping slice out of my foot.
Why do you do these things?
Because I think I'm cool.
No, you don't think, period. You're going in the river with no footwear.
Well, it feels very similar, I think.
Well, did you disinfect it and shit at least?
See, I told you that was gonna be the first thing he said. I put polysporin on it.
No, it's not the first thing I said. I said you're an idiot first. And I also said you don't think. And what else did I say? Why do you do those things?
No, I told you, yeah, and it was like the first thing Dom goes says is put alcohol on it. I'm like, yeah, I can put polysporin on it. He goes, no, put alcohol on it. I'm like, not fucking. Yeah, he goes like, no, you don't have to put fucking alcohol on it.
Did you disinfect it? I didn't mention any brand name.
Yeah, no, I washed it with water and fucking put polysporin on it and wrapped it up.
You realize you're not going to look for no one tonight, right?
Nope. But it looks like it's gonna rain anyway, so.
Yeah, I know. Well, it rains for a reason. This time not to get more humid. Fucking.
Anyway.
All right. Well, rest up there. At least you get to lie down and have an excuse.
That is not what I want to be doing at all. I had a list of things written on my arm that I'm supposed to be doing, and now I can't do any of those things, and I'm stuck on my ass. So.
Yeah, this is one day after another.
Yeah, hopefully he'll. I got that glue stuff, that new skin glue stuff, and I put it on, and it burned like a motherfucker. So.
You know what you should do now that you can't go anywhere? You should do some of those fucking things.
Oh, that's an idea. Maybe I'll do that.
Maybe get some money.
Yeah, okay. I'll do that.
Yeah, and if you don't feel like doing it after, just just keep your shit. That's all.
Oh, I did 2 boxes already, and it's
Yeah,
a 16th of the way there.
Yeah, but it's like he's got $9,000 worth to do. Like that's why I figured, you know, if the book is for helping him out, it's just for you to make some extra cash.
Yeah, no, I'll do that later because I'm fucking stuck not walking for a bit.
Okay.
Because it's not hospital bad, but it's like super glue bad.
Super little bad. You just put some Netflix on. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's plenty of shitty stuff.
Yeah.
I've been binging them at night, trying to fall asleep, and that's what keeps me awake. But that's why I never took.
Watch the Peaky Blinders. What's that guy? Oh my god, Adrian Brody. He's like an Italian guy with a big nose.
Yeah, but I'm not in that. You have to be in the movie. It's like there's a bunch of fucking limited series I watch that I would never, you would never have thought I would watch them, but I get into it. I'll watch them and then.
Well, I know you don't like anything with British accents because you get annoyed.
No, actually, yesterday, what was it? Boy Swallows the World. It was Australian.
Oh, well.
Like, wait, it was a limited series.
New Zealand, probably.
The other one, no, the other one was American. Love, but it was funny. No, it's funny. It's just a geeky guy and a chick guy.
Oh, watch the Peaky Blinders. It's really good. It's a mafia movie. Old mafia.
Kind of nice, but if I don't get into it, I just like, it's just gonna stay on my continue to watch this.
That's why I stayed, like, fucking started at, like, the 3rd season where it's all Italians fighting the New York Irish, or, yeah, I think they're Irish, yeah.
Just, I think I've had my fill of,
Mafia stuff, probably.
Well, because everybody I deal with, everybody thinks they're a gangster, you know? But
Oh, it's adorable, honestly.
I got my entertainment live over here with all.
They're, like, middle-aged guys with, like, children and grandchildren, and they're like, I'm still so gangster. I'm like, this is sad. Very sad.
Everyone's trying to replace what's his name? D'Onofrio on Soprano. The guy that died, but nobody's done us.
Wow.
Nobody looked like a gangster more than him and everything. Enough of that shit.
Okay, well, I'll message you tomorrow. I'll let you know if my foot's better.
Take care. Well, actually, I got you to pick up everything till Thursday, and the only thing that might come in is for Friday for Joel.
Okay.
He calls me tomorrow, but that one I sent on because usually it's 5 big cases of shit ones.
Okay.
And plus, like 5 cartons plus a couple of vapes. I told them the next trip you're not asking me for nothing.
Okay.
All right, you take care of yourself.
Yeah. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Right,
Goodbye. Oh. Oh. Stupid, fucking stupid, fucking stupid. Holy fuckaroni.
As multi-department stores of Canada, Morgan's became a Montreal institution, a symbol of elegance and quality. For generations, the family built a retail and real estate empire that was the envy of the nation. They were true Montreal high society, with grand estates and private railway cars. Their flagship store on St. Catherine Street, and the family even built some of Canada's first suburban shopping malls. But the retail world changed. Facing intense competition, the Morgan family made a huge decision in 1960. They sold their entire chain of department stores to their biggest rival, the Hudson's Bay Company. The sale brought the family a fortune in cash and a massive block of Hudson's Bay shares, making them one of the largest shareholders in their former competitor. This was the end of the Morgan retail era, but not their wealth. The money went into a family trust that managed extensive real estate holdings. However, later generations struggled to manage this fortune, and the family's business presence faded. Still, the Morgan legacy lives on through their philanthropy, like the land donated to McGill University for the Morgan Arboretum. Their story is a powerful reminder that dynastic wealth isn't always permanent, and that the ability to adapt is key. These families built their fortunes by seeing the future, whether in beer, frozen food, or the grain that would feed a nation. They understood the Canadian economy because they helped build it. We're only halfway through, and the empire gets even bigger and more influential from here. If you're fascinated by the hidden forces that shape our world, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the rest of our countdown. Entering the top 5 is a family whose power in one region is so concentrated. They're often described as modern-day feudal lords, the Irvings of New Brunswick. The Irving Empire is a massive, sprawling web of companies that touches almost every part of the economy in Atlantic Canada. The story starts with Kenneth Collin, or K.C. Irving, a driven and famously frugal entrepreneur. Born in 1899, K.C. started with a small car dealership and gas station, and built his empire with a simple, powerful strategy: control every single link in the supply chain. If he sold cars, he wanted to sell the gas. If he sold gas, he needed the oil refinery. To get oil to the refinery, he needed ships and trucks. To build those assets, he needed a shipyard and construction companies. This relentless drive for vertical integration created a vast and complex empire. The family's holdings were eventually split among K.C.'s 3 sons. One branch, led by Arthur Irving, controls Irving Oil, which owns Canada's largest refinery and over 900 gas stations. Another, under James J.K. Irving, controls J.D. Irving Limited, a monster conglomerate involved in forestry, paper products, shipbuilding, transportation, and food. Until recently, a third branch of the family controlled the media, owning almost all of New Brunswick's major English-language newspapers. This incredible concentration of corporate and media power in one family is unlike almost anywhere else in the developed world. The Irvings are the largest private sector employer in New Brunswick and one of the biggest landowners in the region. Their influence is everywhere. This dominance hasn't come without controversy. The family has faced criticism over its business practices, environmental impact, and powerful influence over provincial politics. Yet they are also major philanthropists, giving back millions to education and healthcare in the region. The Irvings are a dynasty of immense, concentrated power, a family that has shaped an entire region through sheer will. At number 4, we find a family whose name brings to mind both immense wealth and Shakespearean tragedy, the Bronfmans. Their rise from poverty to the top of global business is one of the most dramatic stories in Canadian corporate history. The story begins with Samuel Bronfman, who came to Canada from Russia in the late 19th century. His big break came during Prohibition in the United States.
Oh my god.
While alcohol was banned south of the border, it was legal to produce and export in Canada. Samuel Bronfman legally built his company Seagram by selling whiskey to American distributors who then smuggled it across the border. When Prohibition ended, Seagram was perfectly positioned. Bronfman had a huge stockpile of aged, high-quality whiskey, while American distillers were just starting up again. Seagram quickly dominated the North American market, becoming the largest distiller of alcoholic beverages in the world. Brands like Crown Royal and Chivas Regal became global icons, and the Bronfman family became Canadian royalty. But then came the third generation. Samuel's grandson, Edgar Jr., made an audacious move in the 1990s. He orchestrated the sale of Seagram's massively profitable beverage empire to go all in on Hollywood, acquiring major entertainment companies like MCA and Universal. It turned out to be a catastrophic miscalculation. The family lost billions as the entertainment ventures soured, and the Seagram company, the foundation
my dad's fucking company.
sold off and dismantled. Despite this incredible loss,
And they sold it to Hollywood. Who owns Hollywood? The fucking Jews. I'm fucking, this is not even, at first it was like, haha, joking. But like, funny, not fucking funny. It's fucked up.
Huge contributions to universities, hospitals, and the global Jewish community. Is a powerful lesson in how a fortune built off and dismantled. Despite this incredible loss, the Bronfman family remains extremely wealthy through diversified investments in real estate, technology, and finance. Their legacy is complex. They have been among Canada's greatest philanthropists, making huge contributions to universities, hospitals, and the global Jewish community. The Bronfman
Like 10 points awarded to me.
can be risked in a generation.
That's
and how
fucked
a
up.
family's legacy can be defined as much by losses as its victories. Coming in at number 3 is a family that truly embodies the quiet political power of old money, the Desmarais family. You might not know their name as well as others on this list, but their influence radiates from Montreal to the highest levels of Canadian and international business and politics. The architect of this dynasty was Paul Desmarais Sr., who started by turning around his family's struggling bus company in the 1950s. Through a series of brilliant deals, he gained control of the Power Corporation of Canada in 1968 and transformed it into a massive financial services conglomerate. The Desmarais strategy was to acquire controlling stakes in large, stable companies, especially in insurance and investment. Through Power Corporation, the family controlled some of Canada's biggest financial
Hydro-Quebec, René Lebec, and they did a
IGM
deal with
Financial.
Trudeau's fucking
More
father.
recently, they've become major players in fintech, holding a significant stake in the popular investment platform Wealthsimple. But what really sets the Desmarais family apart is their deep and lasting political connections.
Oh my god.
Paul Desmarais Sr. was a close friend and advisor to numerous Canadian prime ministers, including Pierre Trudeau, Brian Mulroney, and Paul Martin. His son, André, is married to former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien's daughter.
Oh yeah.
These relationships have placed the family at the centre of Canadian public life for decades, earning them both admiration and scrutiny. Now led by the third generation, the family maintains tight control over their empire. They are major patrons of the arts and education, and their influence shows no sign of fading. The Desmarais family proves how immense wealth, combined with strategic political networking, can create a dynasty whose power is both far-reaching and incredibly durable. At number 2, we have a family whose empire touches the lives of nearly every Canadian, every single day. the Westons. From the bread on your table to the groceries in your cart and the products in your medicine cabinet, the
Really?
Weston family's influence on Canadian retail is simply inescapable. The dynasty started in 1882 when George Weston, a former baker's apprentice, bought a bread route in Toronto. He soon opened his own bakery, George Weston Limited. His son, W. Garfield Weston, took that ambition and went global, acquiring bakeries and grocery stores across Canada, the US, and the UK.
Oh my God.
But it was the third generation, led by W. Galen Weston, who cemented the family's dominance. Galen took control of Loblaw Companies, a struggling grocery chain the family owned, and transformed it into the largest food retailer in the country. Through clever marketing, innovative store brands like President's Choice and No Name, and buying up competitors, Loblaws became the undisputed king of Canadian grocery. The empire
the rich people
grew
shop.
larger with the acquisition of the Shoppers Drug Mart pharmacy chain. For decades, the Westons also owned iconic luxury department stores like
Even
Holt
Metro
Renfrew in
knows
Canada
fucking moldy
and
food.
Selfridges in the UK, which they sold in 2021. The family's main holding company, George Weston Limited, and their private family office manage their vast portfolio. Now, the fourth generation, led by Galen G. Weston, has taken the public lead, steering the family's retail empire. Like the other families on this list, the Westons are major philanthropists, making huge donations to healthcare, education, and the arts. They have shown an incredible ability to adapt and grow over 4 generations, turning a single bakery into one of the most powerful and pervasive
only bakery
dynasties in the nation. And now we've reached the top of our list. At number 1, with a staggering fortune and an almost invisible public profile, is the Thompson family. They are, by a wide margin, the richest family in Canada, and their story is the ultimate example of old money power and discretion. The Thompson dynasty was founded by Roy Thompson, the son of a Toronto barber. His beginnings were humble, but his ambition was limitless. In 1931, in the depths of the Great Depression, he bought a small radio station in North Bay, Ontario. Soon after, he bought a small newspaper. From these small towns, Roy Thompson began to build a media empire with a simple strategy: buy small, often struggling newspapers and run them with ruthless efficiency. By the 1950s, he had a vast network of newspapers and had expanded to the UK, acquiring major publications like the Sunday Times. His success was so immense that in 1964 he was granted a hereditary British peerage, becoming Roy Thompson, first Baron Thompson of Fleet. His son, Kenneth, inherited the title and the business, but his real passion was art, not newspapers. Kenneth made a brilliant and pivotal move. He shifted the family's focus away from the declining newspaper business and into the lucrative world of specialized information and financial data. He oversaw the acquisition of Reuters in 2008, creating the global information giant Thomson Reuters. Today, the family's fortune is managed through their private holding company, Woodbridge. This company holds their controlling stake in Thomson Reuters, the crown jewel, but also has investments in Bell Canada and owns the Globe and Mail, Canada's most influential national newspaper. The family is now led by the third generation, David Thompson, who is known to be even more reclusive and private than his father. The family's influence is exercised quietly through their control of major media outlets and their immense financial power. They are also among the country's greatest philanthropists, with a special focus on the arts. Kenneth Thompson's spectacular personal art collection was donated to the Art Gallery of Ontario. The Thompson family represents the absolute pinnacle of old money in Canada, a dynasty built from scratch, transformed by strategic genius, and now managed with a level of privacy that makes their immense power all the more formidable. From the breweries of Montreal to oil fields of the East Coast and the financial data hubs of the world, the stories of these 10 families are truly woven into the fabric of Canada. Their journeys often follow a similar path: build a fortune in a core industry, diversify into global markets, and secure the legacy through careful planning and philanthropy. They are the quiet owners, the hidden architects of the Canadian economy. They have funded political parties, built our cultural institutions, and employed generations of Canadians. While their names might be on our university halls and hospital wings, their real influence often stays just out of sight, wielded in boardrooms and private family offices. As Canada keeps evolving, the enduring power of these old money dynasties is a testament to the lasting impact of generational wealth. Their fortunes were built on the industries of the past, but their eyes have always been fixed on the future, making sure that their influence, just like their wealth, will be passed down for generations to come. The legacy of these families isn't just in the companies they built, but in the nation they helped to shape.
Did you know that you'll find the largest island within an island in Canada? And that there's a famous roadside attraction that appears to defy the laws of physics? How about hills that have been on fire for over 2 centuries? Canadian geography is full of crazy facts and strange surprises you'd never expect. In fact, you'd think some are fake. So get ready, because we're about to explore 50 of the most bizarre and unbelievable facts about Canadian geography. Fact 50: the largest known impact crater in Canada and the second largest on Earth. Beneath the surface of Canada lies a geological wonder, the Sudbury Basin, the largest known impact crater in the country and the second largest on Earth. Situated near Sudbury, Ontario, this
Oh my god. What? 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 Calgary's flooded.
Calgary's flooded?
Like, cars are gone. Like, cars are fully submerged in water. Calgary. Calgary. Like, pardon? Now, where's the central hub of Canada going to be? You gonna tell me Halifax? PEI?
Imagine waking up lungs burning as they fill with dust. Your nose bleeds as you cough up mud. Outside, the sky has turned black at noon. You can't see your hand in front of your face.
Why
The air
does it
itself
think my eyeballs are
should be
titties?
death. This wasn't some apocalyptic movie. This was breakfast in America's heartland during the 1930s. Children suffocated in their beds. Livestock dropped dead in the fields. Millions fled their homes as the very earth beneath their feet took to the skies. The solution? Plant a forest over 1,000 miles long. Today, we're deep diving into America's most ambitious ecological project ever attempted, the Great Plains Shelter Belt, a massive wall of trees stretching from Canada to Texas that most people have never even heard of. The year is 1929. Wall Street has crashed, plunging the world into the Great Depression. But for Americans living in the heartland, an even more terrifying disaster was brewing. Look at these images. Apocalyptic dust storms so massive they blotted out the sun. Locals called them black blizzards, walls of dirt reaching 10,000 feet high and traveling at 60 miles per hour. One storm in 1934 was so powerful it carried 12 million tons of dust all the way to the East Coast. The Statue of Liberty disappeared behind a cloud of prairie soil. Ships 300 miles out at sea reported dust settling on their decks. On April 14, 1935, known as Black Sunday, a dust storm so massive it turned day to night swept across multiple states. But what caused this environmental catastrophe? Humans did. After World War I, farmers across America embraced mechanized farming. New tractors and plows let them tear up millions of acres of native grassland that had previously been untouched. Between 1925 and 1930 alone, over 5 million new acres were plowed under. For centuries, this prairie had evolved to withstand drought. Its complex root systems held the soil in place, but once farmers stripped away this natural protection and exposed the topsoil, they effectively created a ticking time bomb. When severe drought hit in 1931, that bomb exploded. By 1934, an estimated 35 million acres of farmland were completely destroyed, with another 125 million acres rapidly losing topsoil. That's an area roughly 3 times the size of Texas turned to wasteland. The human toll, thousands died from dust pneumonia.
What?
5 million people fled the region in what became America's largest environmental migration. This included migrants from across the Plains states, not just the Dust Bowl poor. Entire communities simply disappeared. The United States was facing an existential threat. Could anything stop it? When Franklin D. Roosevelt took office in 1933, he inherited not just an economic crisis.
Is that why my
but
bank
an
makes me
environmental
donate to
one.
fucking save
His
the
response
trees?
was the
I'm like, I did not sign up for this, and they were like, it's mandatory. Every fucking TD customer has to donate $2 to one of these charities. Don't worry, you get it all back in your taxes. Tax returns. Don't do this.
America built a giant wall to stop the winds, not of concrete or steel, but of trees. The plan was called the Prairie States Forestry Project, later known as the Great Plains Shelter Belt. It would become one of the most ambitious environmental engineering projects in history. The concept was simple but audacious. Plant an enormous forest spanning the entire Great Plains from North Dakota to Texas, creating a living wall of trees designed to break the wind and hold the soil in place. But could it actually work? Shelter belts weren't a new concept. Farmers had used rows of trees as windbreaks for thousands of years.
Let's check those out, just out of curiosity.
Is 25 feet tall,
Maybe it'll distract me from the pain in my foot.
for up to 500 feet behind it, cutting erosion dramatically.
I want to stab
What
something.
was
Oh my god.
unprecedented was the scale. No one had ever attempted a coordinated tree planting project spanning multiple
Pain.
states.
Is
Many
it love
experts
pain?
were
Love
skeptical.
pain, I like
The Great
rapping.
Plains were dry, harsh winters and scorching summers. Critics argued the trees wouldn't survive. Roosevelt ignored them.
In July 1934, he officially authorized the project, with planning beginning earlier that summer. The project was initially envisioned with a potential cost of up to $100 million, equivalent to about $2.2 billion today. The operation began on March 18, 1935, when the first tree, an Austrian pine, was planted near Mesa, Oklahoma. What followed was a mobilization effort unlike anything before it. The government sent the Civilian Conservation Corps, CCC, a New Deal program employing young men in conservation projects. The Works Progress Administration, WPA, and the U.S. Forest Service to coordinate the effort. Thousands of unemployed Americans suddenly had jobs during the country's worst economic crisis. Workers received 30 cents an hour, equivalent to about $6 today. For many families, this income was the difference between survival and starvation. The logistics were staggering. Tree nurseries had to be established throughout the region to grow millions of seedlings. Careful research determined which species would survive in each area's specific conditions. The design was meticulous. Most shelter belts were 100 to 165 feet wide, with rows planted 10 feet apart. They used a tiered structure. Tall trees formed the center, flanked by shorter trees and then shrubs, creating a living wall against the wind. The Federal Soil Conservation Service, founded in 1935, worked alongside the shelter belt to promote better land management. Congress extended the program through the Norris-Doxey Farm Forestry Act in 1937. In 1942, when the project wound down, as resources shifted toward World War II, workers had planted an astonishing 220 million trees across 18,600 miles of shelter belts. The tree belts weren't a single unbroken forest, but a mosaic of strategically placed shelter belts on participating farms. The wall was approximately 100 miles wide and stretched for 1,150 miles. The final price tag, just $14 million, less than 15% of the initial projection. But the true test would be whether these trees could survive the harsh Great Plains environment and whether they'd actually stop the dust storms. As the trees grew, something remarkable happened. The dust storms began to subside. The shelter belts reduced wind velocity by up to 80% in protected areas. Soil erosion dropped dramatically as the trees blocked wind and their roots held soil in place. Farmland that had been rendered useless began producing crops again. By 1939, improved weather and conservation efforts helped end the worst dust storms. Studies showed that protected fields increased crop yields by 12 to 15%. The trees also created habitat for wildlife and birds, which helped control pest populations naturally. What's fascinating is how quickly these benefits appeared. The young trees, even before reaching maturity, began changing the microclimate around them. They increased humidity by trapping moisture that would otherwise evaporate. This created a virtuous cycle. More moisture meant to healthier soil, which supported more vegetation, which trapped more moisture. These living walls did something no concrete structure could. They improved the environment while protecting it. As one farmer from North Dakota put it in 1939, these trees saved my family's farm. Last year's winds would have taken what little topsoil I had left. Perhaps most impressively, shelter belts reduced energy costs for nearby homes by 20 to 40% by blocking winter winds, a crucial benefit during the economic hardship of the Depression. Families that could barely afford coal for heating found their supplies lasting longer simply because winds couldn't strip away the warmth from their homes. But the project faced challenges too. Without ongoing government support, maintenance fell to individual farmers, many of whom had full schedules with their regular work. Tree survival dropped to approximately 70%, short of the 80% target, even before the program ended in 1942. Invasive plants constantly threatened the shelter belts. Everything from small weeds to competing trees encroached on the space, and without constant attention, they could overwhelm and kill the shelter belt trees. Water competition became a serious issue as well. In some areas, the shelter belts competed with crops for limited groundwater, creating a difficult choice for farmers.
protect their
This is
fields from wind, or
Oh my
ensure
God.
they had enough water. Some
Wow.
trees
We
even
are in
shaded
so much pain.
cropland, preventing proper sunlight from reaching food crops. By 1954, a government survey found alarming deterioration. About 30% of shelter belts had serious damage from livestock, while 45% were choked with dead sod and weed growth. And as farming technology advanced through the 1960s, the massive mechanical equipment required wider turning areas. Many farmers saw the trees as obstacles to progress. By the 1970s, many farmers had begun uprooting sections to make room for more farmable land. Others simply stopped maintaining them. What had once been continuous protective barriers became sporadic groups of trees that were often seen as eyesores rather than assets. So, what remains today? A 2010 mapping project through the National Agroforestry Center in Nebraska found that about 79% of the original sites in that state still existed, though many were in partial condition or disrepair. A more comprehensive study in 2016 revealed the complex legacy across Nebraska. In 11 counties throughout the Northeast, Panhandle, and Central regions, between 101 and 521 original shelter belts remained intact. But 16 other countries maintained only 5 to 20 shelter belts, while many counties had none left at all. This patchwork survival tells a story of changing priorities and circumstances. Where farmers saw value, the trees remained. Where economic pressures won out, the shelter belts disappeared. Yet the project's legacy extends far beyond what physically survives. Every year, the Natural Resource Conservation Service, along with state forestry agencies and local conservation districts, plants over 20 million trees in the Great Plains and distributes another 4 to 6 million seedlings to farmers. Many of today's farmers have been witnessed climate extremes firsthand are voluntarily rebuilding what their predecessors dismantled. The shelter belt was a pioneering example of agroforestry, integrating trees into farms to improve resilience. More importantly, the shelter belt project demonstrated that humans can not only destroy ecosystems, but restore them on a massive scale. The Great Plains Shelter Belt has inspired similar projects worldwide. In China, the Great Green Wall, or Three North Shelter Belt Project, began in 1978 to combat desertification. China's full Three North project will continue through 2050, though the 3,000-kilometer Taklamakan Belt was completed in 2024. Even more ambitious is Africa's Great Green Wall Initiative. Launched in 2007, this project aims to create a 9-mile wide, 4,800-mile-long stretch of trees across the entire width of Africa to stop the southward expansion of the Sahara Desert.
Okay, I don't care what. I've lost interest.
I'm forcing.
Oh my God.
Dude, I force it. If I don't have front tax,
God. Oh, what? Oh.
Quebec City's the worst kind of Quebec people.
Yeah, they're all about the tourists.
Should have never. Dude, that is where we had the war that we lost.
Huh? And now you celebrate. And you guys still celebrate for some reason. I'm like, usually you celebrate things you win, not things you lose. And now they want to call it fight national. Like, when is nationalism not racism?
Retards don't have that. Yeah.
Oh. Oh, fuck out. Ha! There are multiple new Panama canals being built. Told you they're gonna fucking go after the Lachine Canal, but they're gonna have to get the natives to get on board with it, and they'll never do that. Ha! No, no.
I'm just a coordinator. I'm the one that got hired to kill the fucking white people. So he
What the fuck? What?
And welcome back to the Breakfast Show. Now, a drug is devastating lives all across West Africa, and the UK is thought to be one of its main importers. Kush is highly addictive, but also affordable, making it irresistible to people in poverty. Well, the drug has gripped communities across West Africa. Our African correspondent, Yusta El-Begir, has spoken to some of the centre of the crisis in Sierra Leone, and the warning a report shows people suffering from malnutrition, which you may find distressing.
It's a temporary escape with a brutal come down. Kush looks like marijuana.
What?
But can be 25 times stronger than fentanyl.
What?
Making zombies out of men and women in Sierra Leone. This synthetic drug is creating an underworld in plain sight.
What?
And rapidly spreading across West Africa.
Kush is such an issue here that there's even a drug den under this main road.
It's suffering. Well, all the thing with them, we need help. All the things, we need help. We need help. Look at my community.
The conditions of the people here are as haunting as their home. A den of deprivation and disease.
There's this shared sense of pain and entrapment, and everyone coming in and out is connected through their addiction to Kush. They've all told us that they want to quit, but as long as they stay here, they'll never break free.
Elizabeth is 24 years old and pregnant with her second child, but can't bring herself to give up Kush as long as she stays here.
Elizabeth, does it feel like a risk to smoke Kush while you're pregnant? Why are you taking the risk?
I keep smoking it because it makes me forget about my worries and challenges. The numbness of the high has worn off, and she can't hold back her pain. These are not the fringes of Freetown, but a place for people of all ages, caught in the clutches of Kush.
This drug is evil. This drug is bad. I don't know why they gave me this drug in this country. Our brothers are suffering.
Some are dying. Some have sores on their feet. We don't know. This drug brings destruction. Look at me. Just because of this drug, I have sores on my feet.
There's a shelter among shacks for teenagers like Ibrahim, whose Kush-induced sores have eaten away at their limbs. Some are paralyzed by infection and malnutrition, lying in corners where others have died before. The rest are debilitated. Does it hurt? Abu Bakr is only 14 years old and was handed his first Kush joint at 12. He's been fighting for his life ever since.
I am so confused.
When was the last time you walked? Gunmen are literally ravaged by this. They've got these huge open
What?
They have to keep washing with disinfectant. They can't even walk. And yet they're still scrounging to get cash to buy more Kush to smoke. Are they still smoking Kush?
Yeah, I would say they still smoke.
Even with all this pain?
All this thing on their side, they still smoke.
It's a prison with an open door. The drug is destroying everything they need to survive. But where is Kush coming from? This container has come from a high-risk import country to Freetown's port. Shipments from the UK, EU, and South America need to be searched for Kush ingredients.
To make Kush.
And this one fits the bill.
The initial test shows that there are Kush items as well as acetone, which are also used in the processing of Kush.
Acetone is nail polish remover.
Shipped from the United Kingdom.
The UK is part of a transnational drug trade feeding Sierra Leone's growing crisis, destroying families, eroding communities, and spreading across the region. Through 3 different borders to Africa's smallest nation.
It's quite a sleepy border, but Kush has been seized here before, and it passed through 4 countries to get here from Sierra Leone.
They're searching the cars of young men for traces of Kush or other drugs being smuggled in. It's a necessary but futile exercise. The border is so porous that the official checkpoint can be avoided.
There's no boundary. There's no demarcation of anything. You can come from the German side, you can enter. You can come from the Senegalese side, you can enter.
The threat of Kush tearing through Gambia's tiny population has law enforcement taking a zero-tolerance stance.
Run a drugs patrol with police hunting dealers in Gambia's biggest city. This is one of the weapons deployed in the war against Kush, but it hasn't gotten rid of it. It's just driven deeper underground. It just so makes it harder.
They've caught a dealer, but not of Kush.
This is cannabis.
They're 5 pieces.
The searches are thorough, with any amount of drug possession warranting arrest. These raids have become a regular feature of Gambian nightlife, with more and more seizures of cannabis and amphetamines than Kush. It's an average drug bust of small-time players, confirming reports that deadly Kush dealers are operating out of sight.
Is it Kush we are having here?
We've been told that Kush is still happening, still being sold, but is not being done in the open.
It may, yes. Because it's a product that is with high price.
Do you think that you will manage
Doesn't even look like weed.
the problem here, that you can get on top of this?
Yes, I think so. Simply because we don't take it as individual, but we take it as a national issue. Everybody's involved.
It's a national issue with few long-term solutions. And in the country's busiest market, we met a Sierra Leonean who spent a year in Gambian prison for dealing Kush and feels little remorse.
Do I feel guilty for selling it? No, I don't feel guilty.
Why not?
Because I'm not using the money to get the push. People always give the money to get the push.
You think I've said no?
I needed a job, so I was like,
Young men are seen as prime suspects in the Kush trade, but some of them are working to stop the spread and prove that it's possible to quit.
I was at my brother's shop,
Hmm.
and then I went to smoke kush. After smoking, I felt my tongue was choking me. People had to come and hold my tongue, then take me to hospital.
How did you help Aziz stop smoking?
It is very hard. It is not just your advice that will make the person to stop using the drug. It is your advice and he or she being ready to accept to stop using the drug. That's the only way.
Back in Sierra Leone's capital, a police officer chases a kid caught selling Kush. He's disappeared, so his father is arrested instead, as Kush smokers from under the bridge come up to watch. The action passes and they settle back into their rhythm, a dulling of the senses to soften their rapid deterioration.
What the fuck?
The daily drop of this devastating drug. Yusra Bavid, Sky News, Sierra Leone.
It was around 2020 that a mysterious new drug started to pop up everywhere. Delta 8. Everything from weed, edibles, vapes, tinctures, and more was showing up in every gas station and vape shop across the nation. At first, people had questions. How is this stuff legal if it gets you high? How is it made? And is it even safe to consume? But regardless of the skepticism, Delta 8 soon became a $2 billion industry. An industry that sold its intoxicating products to all 50 states, all legal. However, as the years went on, the dark side of Delta 8 was fully exposed. With multiple brands containing heavy metals like nickel, copper, and lead, lab-grown products lying about being natural, and much, much more, it became clear that Delta 8 was not what it seemed. So, where did it all start? Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the Farm Bill of 2018. At face value, this piece of federal legislation seems pretty innocent. Its main intent was to provide support and stability to U.S. farmers by enhancing farm support programs, improving crop insurance, and maintaining disaster programs, among other things. However, the most notable part of the Farm Bill was the legalization of hemp farming and distribution. And I know what you're thinking. This looks exactly like the plant that makes weed. While that's true, there is a noticeable difference between the two. You see, the hemp plant and marijuana plant are both considered cannabis plants, but hemp contains less than 0.3% of delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, marijuana's primary psychoactive chemical. On the other hand, marijuana contains greater than 0.3%. Also, legalizing it allowed U.S. farmers to use hemp in the production of fiber, rope, food, and more. So, removing it from being a Schedule 1 drug seemed like a no-brainer for Congress. However, this small amendment to the Farm Bill would eventually be responsible for creating one of the biggest unregulated drug industries the U.S. has ever seen. It didn't take long for cannabis entrepreneurs to discover a huge money-making opportunity with the legalization of hemp. You see, the language of the hemp amendment made it clear that Congress was only worried about the levels of delta-9 being produced. They made no mention of any restrictions on any other cannabinoids that were in hemp, including delta-8. Now, fair warning, I'm going to talk a little bit about chemistry here, so if you failed it in college like I did, don't worry, I'll try to explain this as simple as possible. So hemp contains over 100 cannabinoids that all have different effects on the human body. Delta-9 is the most famous one because it's what gets you high. But there's also delta-8, which is extremely similar to delta-9. They have the same chemical formula, identical molecular weights, and similar psychological effects on the body. The only difference between the two is this tiny double bond in its chemical structure. Now, regulating or banning delta-8 didn't make much sense to Congress because the hemp plant and cannabis plants in general naturally contain tiny amounts of delta-8. But cannabis entrepreneurs were able to change that. Through a chemical process, they were able to synthetically transform all of the CBD in hemp, which is another legal cannabinoid, into delta-8. And better for them, they could do so in huge quantities, enough to where it was commercially viable for them to make a profit. With this chemical process in hand and their sights set on making millions, these entrepreneurs began
Boiling it
extracting
with
massive amounts of
butane.
completely legal psychoactive delta-8 and began to create and sell joints, blunts, gummies, vaping devices, and more in all 50 states. By the time 2020 rolled around, people across the U.S. started to find delta-8 everywhere. It seemed like overnight that jars full of weed littered gas station counters, and edibles were proudly shown on vape shop shelves, even in prohibition states. This seemed insane to me, especially in those states where weed was illegal, but that didn't stop them from being curious. Throughout 2020, Google searches for Delta 8 skyrocketed by 850%. And with that, consumers gave the drug a try. While probably terrified that these mysterious ExxonMobil gas station drugs were going to kill them, a good majority of users found Delta 8 to be quite pleasant. They discovered that Delta 8 was sort of like a diet weed, giving them similar benefits to Delta 9 while not getting them incredibly big. Delta 8 quickly became the fastest growing segment of hemp-derived products, with sales estimated to be around $200 million. Now, while that number was dwarfed by marijuana's roughly $20 billion in sales the same year, it was clear that Delta 8 was a force of nature, a force that the FDA was very concerned about. As Delta 8 became more popular throughout 2021 and 2022, the agency simply couldn't ignore it. A drug that had not been evaluated or approved by the FDA was getting into the hands of millions who could potentially be in severe danger from the drug's unknown effects. So the FDA began digging, and what they found was very concerning. They discovered that many of the brands selling Delta 8 made erroneous claims that their products could treat medical conditions like pain relief and cancer-related symptoms, while also being a great dietary supplement. And they were doing so while ignoring the fact that all of these claims had to legally be approved by the FDA. But these insane marketing claims were just the start of the problems. From 2021 to 2022, over 100 people reported to the agency that the Delta 8 products they used were causing some serious side effects. Side effects that landed 55% of them in the hospital. Those adverse effects included hallucinations, vomiting, tremors, anxiety, dizziness, confusion, and loss of consciousness. Couple that with National Poison Control Centers reporting over 2,300 exposure cases related to Delta 8 products, where 41% involved children, 70% required hospital evaluations, and one death occurred, and it was clear that the FDA needed to act fast. In May of 2022, they issued 5 warning letters to some of the most popular Delta 8 companies in the market, forcing them to shut down operations within 15 days of facing action. They were trying to make it clear to the public that they weren't going to fuck around when it came to regulating this new drug. But little did the FDA know that this new drug would be much, much worse than what they ever thought. Throughout 2022, several more studies, surveys, and research were done to find the real truth about Delta 8. How was it made? What was even in this stuff?
I can't feel my toes.
Is it safe to consume? Everyone wanted to find the answers, and the answers they found were shocking. To start, researchers wanted to investigate the claim that Delta 8 was purely natural. This was a huge selling point across multiple brands.
Fucking have to boil it down with fucking butane.
Well, remember that chemical process I mentioned earlier where entrepreneurs could transform CBD into Delta 8? When you break down what actually happens during that process, you can start to see how unnatural Delta 8 really is. Everything starts with CBD in hemp, which can be anywhere between 1 to 20% concentration, depending on the strain. That CBD is then dissolved in a solvent like hexane, and from there, it undergoes a process of adding acid and heat, eventually transforming into Delta 8. The 0.1% of Delta 8 naturally found in hemp turns into a 1 to 20% batch of purely synthetic garbo, roughly 10 to 200 times more, which is plenty enough to sell commercially. So yeah, this chemical process completely gets rid of any trace of any naturally derived Delta 8 in these products. But it also does something much worse. In another study, a mass spectrometer was used on 27 different Delta 8 products across 10 available brands. And what it found in those products might get your stomach
triggers
turning.
schizophrenia.
None of the products contain the advertised amount of Delta 8, with almost all of them containing up to 40% less than reported. Instead, in its place were heavy metals like magnesium, chromium, nickel, copper, zinc, mercury, lead, and silicon. Ingesting these metals in any form obviously leads to adverse side effects, which can start with symptoms like shortness of breath or chest pain, but can lead to worse problems like kidney dysfunction, nervous system disorders, skin lesions, immune system dysfunction, and birth defects. Also found in these products was hydrochloric acid, the acid used in the synthetic process, and a 13% concentration of more unstudied cannabinoids.
This is what I'm saying.
Those
Like,
Delta 8 gummies you see at your local shelf aren't really what
I don't think you can actually boil out all of the fucking
You
gas.
would think that consumers would maybe second guess their choice to smoke some Delta 8 reefer, but it didn't seem to stop anyone. As a matter of fact, the Delta 8 industry exploded in 2023. The U.S. market for Delta 8 and other hemp-derived cannabinoids increased 1,283% from $200 million in sales in 2020 to $2.8 billion in 2023. It was clear as day. The market for Delta 8
Decarboxylation, these are all things that are fucking bullshit.
The
Not even
FDA
true.
was issuing more warnings to more companies, but that was only putting the tiniest of dents in the massive production and sale of the new drug. It seemed like the FDA couldn't do anything about this, and Delta 8 was teed up to be the next ginormous unregulated drug industry. But there's a tiny piece of information I've been keeping from you guys that could drastically affect the future of Delta 8 forever. You see, the Farm Bill of 2018 isn't a set-in-stone piece of legislation. For its entire existence since 1933, the Farm Bill legally has to get revoted every 5 years, with the exception of Congress having the ability to extend the previous Farm Bill for another year. This means that it can change at any time every half decade, and it allows for new rules and regulations to be put into place wherever need be. The 2018 Farm Bill was extended before it was set to expire in September of 2023, which means that in September of 2024, anything can change about it, including the laws around that. Now, is this a guarantee that Delta 8 products will vanish by the end of 2024? Probably not. But there's sure as hell going to be a push from the FDA and DEA to get the Farm Bill amended to restrict selling synthetically created drugs, or at least give them the power to do so. For now, Delta 8 is still a thriving industry, with its long-term effects unknown and very few restrictions in place on what's in it, how it's marketed, and how it's made.
No. No.
Oh, wait.
Quieto.
Okay, next one to be. Nick, come to me.
That's what she said. Yeah.
My photo.
Oh, fuck. Oh.
Imagine being able to grow your own weed from home, completely legit, with just a few clicks. You buy the plants online, and a company cultivates them for you in real greenhouses. When the harvest is sold, you get a cut of the profits. The cannabis market is booming, and the returns are huge, massive even. So you keep investing. When the harvest is sold, you get a cut of the profits. The cannabis market is booming. And the cannabis market is booming, and the returns are huge, massive even. So you keep investing, possibly spending your entire savings, and then, one day, it's all gone. That's exactly what happened thousands of clients who invested in the firm with Juicy Fields. And the story behind all this is just wild. A flashy, revolutionary startup sponsored international cannabis expos. A promo video starring a German rapper backed with hidden clues. A CEO with an Ivy League degree who barely speaks English. A business address leading to a castle and a group of fake aristocrats. Alleged criminals trying and failing to smoke joints through the slits in their Guy Fawkes masks. Hundreds of millions in losses, investigations all across Europe, and a mysterious mastermind secretly pulling the strings.
Money, money, green. Start up to the green. Now we get good time, man. Money, money, green. Straight out of me. Known as the motherfucking team. Money, money, green.
The story of Juicy Fields was originally covered in depth by a brilliant 8-part investigative driven podcast called Campus Cowboys. We spoke with one of the creators of this video, and also partly based on research on a great YouTube documentary.
Tonight, told they may have to get out by the end of the summer.
For me personally, I would think that it is a case of relocation.
The residents of one Little Italy apartment building are scrambling. What is shaping up to be a potentially legal battle over morals and tenants' rights. When the heat is back on, and your job is fired.
Especially if it's already on out, you have something from here mixed with everything.
Whether you're forced to cope with the heat trying to escape or you actually love it, we all get a break, did we? And a new report shows auto theft numbers are down in Canada.
High volume of targeted vehicles in your proximity to the port of Montreal. Ottawa is definitely hot spot.
But driveways in Ottawa still a popular target for thieves. Good evening. We begin tonight with uncertainty for dozens of Ottawa tenants who may be facing a mass eviction. An apartment building in Little Italy could soon be emptied under a court order.
because of mold. The company now in charge is asking a judge to force every tenant out by the end of August, a condition of a potential sale. The building is located on Champagne Avenue South. It has 100.
President of the Professional Institute of the Public Service of Canada says in a statement to CTV Ottawa, limiting cell phone allocations would pose a, quote, higher risk that many employees will rely on personal phones to perform work-related tasks, raising service delivery, cybersecurity, confidentiality, and privacy concerns. Patricia.
All right, CTV's Josh Morano reporting live for us tonight. Thank you. And we have extended coverage of the government's plan to cut back on the number of cell phones issued to public servants in other areas, as well. More stories online at CTV News Ottawa.
Eat a fucking dick.
Still ahead, closing their patios during the height of patio season. Why these plywood market businesses are more than a little upset with the NCC. That story coming up. Well, a 57-year-old woman is dead after a fire in the Nation Township east of Ottawa over the weekend. Emergency responders were called to a home on Concession Road 20 around 10 o'clock Saturday night. One tenant was unaccounted for. Another tenant attempted to rescue her, but was forced out by smoke and flames. Human remains were found inside the building yesterday. Police say the fire is not believed to be suspicious, but remains under investigation. The Prescott man is facing impaired driving charges after a single vehicle rollover on Highway 416. It happened near Hunt Club Road around 1 a.m. Sunday. Police say the driver registered more than twice the legal limit after a breath test. He had his license suspended for 90 days and the vehicle impounded.
Are you serious?
Well, turning now to some positive news when it comes to the crackdown on auto theft in Canada. According to a new report, there has been a sharp decrease in the number of stolen cars and trucks this year, but drivers are warned not to let their guard down, particularly here in Ottawa. CTV's Austin Lee joins us live to break down the report. Austin.
Yeah, Patricia, just over 23,000 vehicles were reported stolen across the country in the first 6 months of this year. And while that is a lot, it does represent about a 19% drop compared to the same time last year. Here in Ontario, the year-over-year decline is even more pronounced. Between January and June of this year, there were nearly 26% fewer cars reported stolen. It's the largest improvement of any other region in the country. Those behind the report credit greater public awareness and efforts by various levels of government and police to collectively tackle the problem. But still, those behind this new report say it is not the time to get complacent.
Newer model luxury vehicles, SUVs, pickup trucks, and sedans. Largely, you're at a bad spot when it comes to not only population, but high volume of targeted vehicles and your proximity to the port of Montreal, as well as the eastern ports as well. So Ottawa is definitely a hotspot.
Nationally, about 44% of stolen vehicles are never recovered. Now, the report from AQK also points to automotive and steel tariffs as a reason for the growing demand for aftermarket and used cars and parts. And that's paving the way for an increase in what are called chop shops, which are now expanding and shipping parts to international markets. Patricia.
Great news. All right, CTV's Austin Lee live for us tonight. Thank you. And the countdown is on as Canada seeks to reach a trade agreement with the United States.
Oh, fuck off. I'm done. You say so much, get nothing at all. Apparently, Bin Laden's not dead.
Nice.
When I remember bombs falling and crouching with my brother in our bedroom. Serge Tankian went from bomb shelters in Beirut to global superstardom, a journey that almost never happened.
What?
They're not really supposed to be popular. They're too weird. He's one of the most iconic rock stars ever, a lifelong activist, a painter, and a full-on Renaissance man. This is the insane story of Serge Tankian.
Cool.
Serge Tankian didn't grow up in some comfy LA suburb chasing a music dream in his parents' garage. He was born in 1967 in Beirut, Lebanon, right in the middle of a war. And all four of his grandparents were survivors of the Armenian genocide.
Really?
All my grandparents were survivors of the genocide from both sides. And my grandfather, from an early age, both my grandfather and my grandmother from my mom's side, who I knew better, would talk about their family and the things that occurred, not in specific detail or gruesome detail, of course, and at times wouldn't be able to talk about it out of the pain that they suffered. But, it's my closest link to a family tree that has been cut off at a certain point because I don't know who my other relatives were after a certain point.
While most kids were watching cartoons, Serge was hearing air raid sirens and running to bomb shelters. This wasn't a place for childhood dreams, it was survival.
I remember stuff like my school and the streets and just specific visual memories of Lebanon. But I also remember the last few months where the schools were closed down and we couldn't leave the house because there were bombs falling everywhere. And you can hear bombs falling in the sky. It's a memory that doesn't leave you ever. If you've ever experienced that, whether you're in Eastern Europe or anywhere you've been in the world, if you ever hear a bomb fall, it's something you will never, ever forget.
At 7, Serge's life lived upside down when his family escaped from the war in Lebanon and moved to the U.S.
obviously coming to the U.S. From Lebanon was a culture shock. You know, and it was at the beginning of the Lebanese Civil War. My parents were able to get us out of there. And my dad was born in Syria, so he couldn't come with us. He had to send us ahead. And he had to go and bribe his way to get all the paperwork that he needed to be able to get the fuck out of there. Los Angeles didn't fix everything. Serge was a survivor, but also an immigrant of foreign land, wondering what the hell he was supposed to turn into. Man, that was like, you know, the disco era, the
Come here, let's go to Airfield.
Time to be in Hollywood, California, and it was just a roller disco. It was a roller disco. I got to do any roller disco. Of course I did. Yeah. As a kid, that cultural collision shaped everything that came after. Los Angeles, Serge quickly mastered English, and with it came responsibility. As a young kid, he found himself translating contracts and even legal documents for his father, forced into adult roles long before most kids even learn how the world works. You know, as a kid coming, you know, to the U.S. at that time, I mean, you know, we were ducking in our houses with bombs falling overhead, you know. Not in Hollywood. Not in Hollywood, no. We were ducking from hookers and pimps falling overhead in Hollywood. He didn't grow up playing guitar or the piano as a kid. He didn't have dreams of becoming a rock star or anything like that. In fact, he didn't even consider making a career out of music until much later in life. I didn't know I wanted to do music professionally at the time. I was working with my uncle in the jewelry industry. I was very lost. So I was working with my uncle, long days, downtown LA, in the jewelry district. And I was dealing with a lot of lawsuits with my parents. Like, it was very negative time, very tough time. And I thought, shit, I deal with a lot of lawyers, so maybe I should be a lawyer. I've got pretty good left brain activity going on. I remember signing up for the LSAT exam and going down to Long Beach to take these classes to learn how to take the LSAT. And everyone was so happy being there, and I was fucking miserable. I hated lawyers at the time. And here I am wanting to be a lawyer because I just couldn't figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. I knew I didn't want to be in the jewelry industry or running a business, whatever. And after that one night of taking those classes and driving home, I had a Jeep Wrangler. I remember it was raining, very dramatic. And I really, I always say I had to go to the far reaches of who I don't want to be to admit to myself who I really am. And I was in my car and I literally stopped and this is bullshit. I don't want to do all this shit, you know? And that was the day that changed my life. Chasing that fire, Serge bounced from jam session to jam session, testing the waters. And then on anything I did was with the idea that I'm going on this path and I got to do whatever I got to do to be on this path. And it took years to be able to pay, work and other stuff, day jobs, and I did accounting. I started my own software company for years and ran it, which became quite successful. But this is pre-internet, pre-Windows, you know, DOS.
Wow.
After plenty of dead ends, he finally landed on the crew who'd end up becoming his bandmates, the ones crazy enough to build something real. I was in one band, we would rehearse in North Hollywood, Burbank at various rehearsal studios, and Darren joined another band of friends, and we would share a rehearsal space, and him and I became friends, and, you know, the serious guys continue, everyone else just kind of dissipates over time. So Darren and I were the first ones to actually start collaborating. I remember the first time we sat down together, it was in a rehearsal studio that we were sharing. He was playing guitars for a band, and I was playing keyboards in another band. So we were just friends because we shared a rehearsal space, and it was a large group of friends, two bands. And so I remember him sitting down, and he started playing something on an acoustic guitar or whatever, on guitar, but not plugged in, and, you know. And he started singing something, and I started singing with him, and we immediately noticed that our two voices had this really incredible resonance together, you know, that it was a unique combination of sounds. And what I remember appreciating about him was he was like so serious about music. I was serious as well at that point, you know, and so we got along and we started collaborating on music, and that lasted 8 months, and then System of a Down formed with Chavo, and John's the latest one.
Once System of a Down was born, there was no turning back. The rise of System of a Down wasn't quick or easy. They fought their way through the strange and messy Los Angeles metal scene of the mid-90s. A scene still trying to figure out what came after hair metal, thrash, and grunge. In the middle of all that, 4 Armenian American kids showed up, not fitting into any box.
It was really a spectacle to see because we didn't look or sound like anyone else. It was just like it was kind of like, did they just put people on drugs on stage?
But there are certain rules of heavy metal, let's say, that everyone sort of follows those rules.
Some loyal fan base.
Yeah.
I like it.
And System of a Down were a heavy band, you could say a heavy metal band, who didn't follow those rules. So they didn't have the rhythms that you hear in a typical, you know, you hear a Metallica rhythm, you hear System of a Down rhythm, which was different, like different gallops and different, and it's rooted in their Armenian heritage.
Oh.
So they took elements from folk music and brought that into heavy metal.
The name System of a Down actually came from one of Darren's early poems titled Victims of a Down. Chavo suggested tweaking it to System. It sounded broader, darker, and easier to market while keeping that vibe of something broken and falling apart. The name fit their vibe perfectly. Chaotic, political, angry, and ominous.
But there was still so much crap to cut through, especially with each new group sounding more cookie cutter than the next, putting more and more of an emphasis on either a larger visual gimmick or just trying to sell the small goth image. But System of a Down was a much needed breath of fresh air in an ocean of cringy rap verses and down-tuned two-note riffs.
By 1995, System of a Down was playing regularly in LA's club scene, venues like the Roxy and the Whiskey A Go-Go, historic stages for countless metal acts. But System was different. Instead of flashy guitar solos and party anthems, they delivered complex rhythms, unconventional melodies, lyrics confronting genocide and injustice, and Surge's unique blend of operatic singing and harsh growls.
I really love his very nasally timbre, sits up very high in the throat, but has such a strong sense of pitch. Meanwhile, his dynamic and cartoony shrieks and growls and screams remain unmatched in metal in their energy and character.
At first, they were just an underground band with a small following. Armenian fans came to support them, and metal fans, tired of the same old formulas, started paying attention. But what really started the machine moving was their relentless self-promotion and demo tapes.
I mean, we did our work in terms of building an audience ground up. We were opening for Slayer, you know, playing Ozfest. We were on the road for that first 2-3 years, like pretty much the whole time. So we were in a radio band trying to make it at the radio. We were winning fans over every night by performing. So that was a part of it, obviously. But part of it is also luck. You know, the movement of music, especially on the radio, transferred over from Seattle to LA. So it became from grunge. Suddenly you started hearing Korn and Deftones on the radio and new metal and all of this type of stuff. A community that we had fit in because we were in Los Angeles and we had started playing with, you know, as an opener to, you know, bands like those, you know. So in a way we got lucky because the radio format changed as we came up.
So timing was essence here as well, you know.
Between 1995 and 1997, System of a Down put out a few demo tapes. They were rough, raw, but already showed how unique their sound was.
They clearly didn't fit, but they were so good that they transcended not fitting.
By 1997, word about them reached Rick Rubin, the legendary producer behind Def Jam, Beastie Boys, Run DMC, Slayer, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Johnny Cash, and many more. Rubin was always looking for bands that didn't follow the rules, and System fit that perfectly.
I like weird things. I like being surprised. I like hearing something I haven't heard before. I like being challenged by music.
Yeah, I like you a lot.
He saw them live and was immediately sold. The energy, the chaos, and Serge's freak of nature voice hit him like a kick to the balls.
I remember seeing them.
This guy's like the best fucking narrator.
He was packed, and 200 people, and sold out. And I remember watching the show and just laughing. I laughed the whole time. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen, but in a good way. It wasn't like laughing like, what a joke. It was just so over the top and so extreme and like Armenian folk dancing with heavy metal riffs and wild political lyrics and screaming. It was crazy music.
And that night he brought Camarello with him. And I remember seeing Rick sitting at the top of the booth, like on the seats of the booth, and because there was a crowd of people, and the record was not that big, you know. And he was laughing. He was laughing like I'm kind of like, what the fuck is this laughing kind of thing? And I love that. Love that because all of the music executives we were meeting were incredibly serious and trying to pitch us with go-to marketing terms, you know, and saying that I think maybe you can fit in here or there and the other, and we're just like, you know, they even like the music, you know. And when he laughed, I knew he got it. I knew he understood that we are dramatizing our music. We're going over the top. You know, everything we do is accentuated, but we mean it.
Actually, this first show he came to, he told us it was at the Viper Review. We went outside because he wanted to talk to us after the show. But he was like, "Yeah, I want this." I'm like, "What? You already want this?"
Rubin signed them to his label and produced their self-titled first album, System of a Down, released in the summer of 1998. Songs like The Funky Sugar and The Dark Spiders were released as early singles.
So Sugar was technically our first single off our first record. Yeah. And actually single, it wasn't like the radio was playing it all over the place, all over the world or anything like that. There was a local station in Los Angeles that was playing it at nights, once in a while. You know, there was a DJ called Jed the Fish that on a specialty show that would play it on K-Rock. And I remember hearing it, and that's the first time I've ever heard one of our songs on the radio, which was like, you know, mind-blowing.
Even on their first album, System wasn't shy about politics. The opening track, Sweet Pea, attacked religious hypocrisy. War called out warmongers. And PLUCK, short for politically lying, unholy, cowardly killers, directly condemned the Armenian genocide. Critics paid attention. Pitchfork called it the most inventive crossover since Rage Against the Machine, and Kerrang put System of a Down at number 3 on its best albums of 1998 list.
They're not really supposed to be popular, right? They're too weird.
Toxicity was the game changer. Dropped in September 2001, it kept their absurd sound, but made it a bit more accessible, debuting at number 1 in both the US and Canada.
Toxicity's official release date was just 7 days before the September 11th attacks in 2001.
Oh,
But the lyrics on this album were written as if they had the hindsight of the next 7 years of authoritarian garbage that the Bush administration would serve up. And it's kind of depressing to admit that this album's themes of pollution and addiction and private prisons and endless war, they're only more relevant.
The singles blew up.
chop suey, fast, intense, and full of dark imagery. It became a massive hit.
It sounds so normal now. I've heard it so many times. But the first time I heard it, I was like,
It's definitely a head scratcher at first. And it has this big, you know that song? It has this big Grinch section in it where Serge, the lyric writer, didn't have words for this one part of the song. And we're sitting in the library in my old house, and he said, well, I don't have words for this, and we were finishing. It's like, okay, any ideas? It's like, he didn't have any ideas. I said, okay, pick a book off the wall. Pick the book randomly off the wall. I said, open it to any page. Tell me the first phrase you see. He opened it. First phrase he sees. That's what's in the song, and it's incredible. It's like magic.
Well, there was no vocals there because all I had was Father, Father, Father. That's all I had. I didn't have the whole. I think you and Sarah put that together with the Bible.
Yeah, whatever book, I don't even know if it was a Bible. Whatever book it was, he pulled down and just randomly picked it, but that did happen.
Yeah. And so that's how that part came about. And there you have it. You have Chop Suey, and it's our most famous song, the one that people recognize the most, System of a Down.
The title track, Toxicity, mixed melody with heaviness, while Aerials hit #1 on Billboard's rock charts, and Rolling Stone ranked it among the best albums of the 2000s. Multiple Grammy nominations solidified System of a Down as international metal icons. In 2002, the band released
Hello.
This album,
Catch up.
a collection of rarities and outtakes from the Toxicity session.
I want to catch up with you, really.
Yeah.
Even
My
if
foot's
it
still in so much pain.
the commercial heights of its predecessor, it still reached the U.S. top 20, and Michael Moore directed the video for Boom. However, as much as Serge and Darren were the creative backbone of System of a Down, they were also its biggest critics. Darren was becoming increasingly hands-on in the band's songwriting, bringing in full song structures and taking more control over the band's direction.
Why have you forsaken me?
Are you going to bed?
No.
What are you doing?
Orchestras, jazz, classical arrangements, and political themes. The two respected each other, but their visions were starting to pull in different directions.
And it's also our progression. So when Darren and I started working together, I didn't really write a lot of instrumental music. I also wrote lyrics. I was a lyricist. I was a singer. And he didn't write any lyrics. He just wrote music, But as time progressed, and I played more musical instruments, and I started becoming a songwriter, composer, and he started writing more lyrics, it kind of, we started kind of covering each other's territory. And I was okay with that. Because if he wrote lyrics, I was trying to encourage him to write more. Because I believe in artistic growth. I believe in progression. I don't believe in him staying the same way, because for music's sake, otherwise the music becomes the same thing over and over again. That progression is necessary in every artist's life or in every group's life. So I was very encouraging of that. And I just wish that I got some of that back, right? And so that wasn't the case, and it was disappointing, and it became a creative difference over the band's path and whatnot over time.
In 2005, they made history by releasing a double album split into two parts. Mesmerized, released in May, and Hypnotized in November. Both debuted at #1 in the U.S., placing System alongside the Beatles, Tupac, and DMX as one of the few acts to achieve 2 #1 albums in a single year. In 2006, the single BYOB, an acronym that stands for Bring Your Own Bombs, earned the band
Really?
a Grammy win.
I thought it was Bring Your Own Booze.
After Hypnotized, however, System went on hiatus.
So I'm excited about the prospects of what else there is down the line. Each of the guys with their own stuff, myself, we all need time to do that. And when the time comes, if we're all comfortable with coming back and doing this together, and System will always be there for us.
The hiatus wasn't some ugly breakup. It felt more like Serge and Darren needing to catch their breath before their next creative argument. And that's when Serge took off in a whole new direction. It's important to be productive. I'm a productive person. You're a productive person. And it's important not to stay in these states that can kind of be just, you know, I don't want to say consequential, but something that breaks us down.
So you just thought that system for that was fun.
What is it that you're trying to solve? I like solving problems. You know, I like moving on from it, you know, not because I want to deny the emotion or deny the trauma, but because if you get to the root of that emotion and trauma and you deal with that, then you can move. After the band, Serge's first solo record, Elect the Dead in 2007, launched at number 4 on the charts. Solid proof he could carry himself without the band. He sounds like what happens when you throw Frank Zappa, Jello Biafra, Max Cavalera, a Balkan folk singer, and an apocalyptic street preacher into a blender and crank it to max.
And when and decided to arrange them in a rock fashion, I always heard them in an alternate type of way as well. In an acoustic or orchestral. I even did like stripped down strings for bonus tracks and stuff like that for the Elected Dead premium package. So I did hear the songs interpreted differently. And when I got the chance to actually work with an orchestra, I was really excited to be able to actually, you know, realize that. Then came Imperfect Harmonies in 2010, where he mixed metal with strings and choirs. Let's be honest, some tracks on this record are weird in a not so great way, and a few just don't land. But that's part of what makes it special. It's bold, experimental, and packed with different sounds. Sure, not every idea works, but the album still delivers plenty of beautiful, standout moments. It's a messy gem, and that's the charm. Harakiri in 2012 followed, a concept album with biting sarcasm about this ancient Japanese ritual. Compared to his other solo albums, Harakiri feels a bit less experimental and a bit more mainstream. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not a metal record, at least not in the traditional sense, but it's still packed with Serge's signature weirdness. Like everything Serge puts out, deep political and social themes percolate through the album, giving it substance beyond the sound. I've been talking to a symphonic orchestra actually about doing the next record, not with rock instruments, but more jazz and orchestral. I think that's more of where my music's going. I'm growing as a composer, and I've been doing songs for film, video game. I started working on composing for theater, and so it's something I've been wanting to do. So that's going to be my next record.
Only Serge Tankian would casually drop a classical symphony and a jazz fusion record in the same year. That was 2013 Orca Symphony No. 1 and Jazz's Christ, two projects that couldn't be more different, yet somehow made total sense for a guy like him. But he didn't stop there. He's put out instrumental ambient EPs in 2021 and even co-created a politically charged rock musical, Prometheus Bound, with Broadway's Steven Sater. It's a career defined by reinvention. He's also scored documentaries, video games, and Netflix shows like it's nothing.
Well, I'm
He even had a
turning my
hand in
neck
Game of Thrones soundtrack.
Oh, why are you sitting like
On
this?
the big screen.
Oh, really?
He
Game of
scored an
Thrones?
indie film 1915, which focused on the Armenian genocide, and was also credited as executive music consultant for the Christian Bale film The Promise. And when he's not making music, he paints. Since 2013, Serge has built a second career as a visual artist, creating over 100 original paintings.
For years, before I started painting, for years, I always wondered how it would be to sort paintings. And one day I just decided to just paint myself. And my first painting, which was called Disarming Time, basically had the first measure of the music painted on the canvas, you know, like with musical clef and the notes. I used clocks without arms to denote the notes on the actual canvas, like we had a musical sheet, like huge painting. And I loved it.
He's gay.
The painting itself, like it had the output been bad, I would have never continued.
He's gay.
Hello, it's me again for another session of I'm painting this shit. Let's see, I think I found a better angle for
I'm painting this shit.
What I'm doing. Hopefully. I'm still learning this stuff. But yeah. There we go. Not bad. Okay. I now have over 120, 130 paintings that I've done all musically scored. And it's really fun because you see people walking into a gallery.
They're very displeased.
Either with headphones or not. And they, you know, we use this app called Arlupa.
But you're cool, right?
And it's an optical recognition app that recognizes the painting and starts playing the music.
Aren't you like super cool?
Very, very displeased.
Because, you know, the more
But I thought you were super cool.
The more of a stronger influence of potent influence you can have. The Armenian
Hi,
mirror.
baby.
Surge is a mass of wonderful contradictions. Picture this: a pierced middle finger waving metal singer who will happily chat spiritual philosophy. But as I grew older, I became more interested in the universality of all things, the truthfulness behind universality of all things. If this is true here, it should be true everywhere, you know? And so that led
Look, it's weird what it does. His glasses.
From kind of animism
it's reflecting. But
my computer keeps censoring my eyeballs because they think my eyeballs are titties. I don't know why.
If anything, you planned it that
way. Yeah, those are titties.
Very charmed and grateful to you are.
I mean, everything happens for a reason, right? So, you
No.
the
Not everything happens for a reason. Sometimes things are literally just random.
The priority of music versus activism is a beautiful thing for that. Because what it does is it creates this tension. And that tension is within the music. It's within the song.
Then you lose sight of the music.
You know,
They're just doing things to be shocking. For like the shock and awe factor.
You know, for Ben to just have everyone agree on
and then we get things like Miley Cyrus.
It makes the music kind of effective.
His latest project is a memoir titled Down with the System, a memoir of sorts, a rock star's guidebook of life and activism.
I really, really realized a lot of the mistakes I had made within the band, specifically writing the book. Yeah. I mean, I knew that my spirituality had created had misunderstandingly created passivity within me, having to do with the band, at a time where I needed to be proactive. But I just, for whatever reason, you know, whatever I was going through at the time, I was going through a breakup with my ex, all that. But I was in it. So I'm very careful in the book that no matter what our creative differences are with the guys in the band, I take responsibility for my own part as well. But I hadn't really owned up to my own passivity and kind of letting the reins go of the band in 2003, 2004. Writing the book really, really put me in touch with that more than anything else.
Serge Tankian's story isn't one of humble brilliance or safe wisdom. It's messy, fiery, and perfectly inconclusive. He sold around 40 million records and won awards plenty, but he'll tell you fame or appeasement has zero value. What matters is impact.
Maybe that's what it is, that I won't give up the truth.
In a world where most rock stars eventually morph into harmless nostalgia acts, Serge Tankian stayed true to himself.
It's difficult to successfully lie through art.
A refugee kid from Beirut.
What are you talking about? It is very easy to lie through art.
Brief into activism.
That's why people fucking say that they are musicians when they are producers of music.
Crouching with my brother in our bedroom at the beginning of the Lebanon Civil War in 1975. But we didn't experience that much of it. I know people that lived through it, yet, and we soon left thereafter and immigrated to the U.S. But I still remember that haphazard feeling of whether a bomb could fall on our house, even though just a residential house. And that fear in a child, I think, is really traumatic. And it's led me to really be against any type of, bombing in urban areas. Because, of course, there's more.
You would think that's a given. Just a general thing that you don't have to, make clear, but apparently we do.
You're still killing a lot of civilians, and that's all.
His voice carries the weight of a century of silent stories. But instead of drowning in it, he built something bigger. Long after the stage lights fade, his legacy will still echo, loud, uncomfortable, and impossible to silence.
Subscribe. Subscribe.
No.
Subscribe.
Like, comment, share, subscribe.
Follow and subscribe.
Oh my god. Look, Calgary.
Got it?
Yeah, look. The car's gone.
It's coming. It's coming over here.
I saw something about a drug in Africa, and it's coming from the UK, and it's called Kush, but it's opiates.
I got some good ones. Never wear these.
What? Oh,
Patches.
Biker patches.
Yeah. That's a good one. I don't want to watch it.
Yeah. Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy are fucking lame, man.
Yeah.
They're in, what do you call it? Granby. And they go up to the Laurentides.
Biggest non-nuclear explosion.
This is top news, apparently. Ontario photographer frustrated, a $2,000 camera lens replaced with a box of staples. And they're like, we go to investigate. I'm like, investigate what?
You're gonna talk like everybody else wants.
Like when?
Oh, big puppy. Look at you, Teddy. So.
Hey, Vsauce, Michael here. A single piece of refined flour is, on average, just 82.67 microns wide. That means a 5-pound bag of flour contains about 2.7 billion individual specks of flour dust. Now, if each of those particles were a person, 3 bags could represent every single human alive on Earth today. 8.1 billion itty-bitty things. Are you under 30 years old? Is a question that could roughly divide everyone alive today in half, the yeses and the nos. But can you imagine a second question that could then divide both of those groups in half? Well, if so, and if you kept doing that, after just 33 questions, you would be left with more than 8 billion groups, each containing just one person. In other words, out of everyone alive today, we could pinpoint a specific individual, for example, you, with just 33 yes or no questions. What would those questions be? Do they even exist? We don't know. But we do know that every year, about this many people die. A little bit more than a quarter cup. But about twice as many as that are born. But how many people have ever been born? This many. 117 billion. But out of all of these people, out of everyone who has ever existed, this is how many you will ever meet. You are a stranger to your own species. This is a video about how you will be forgotten. It's about the ghosts that surround you and how they're getting closer. Our journey begins 2,500 kilometers above the surface of the sun. There, a hot layer of ionized gas begins its reach millions of kilometers out into space. It's called the solar corona, and normally it's outshone by the rest of the sun because it gives off just 1/1,000,000th as much light. But during an eclipse, it can be seen. When you are eclipsed, your own sort of corona will remain as well. The memories people have of you, your treasure and junk, email and texts you sent, the fact that your child has a nose like yours, every appearance you made in the background of a stranger's photo, those are all traces of you that shine while you're alive, but can also continue long after you're gone. Douglas Hofstadter called them your solar corona. I love that phrase because it makes a cosmological phenomenon personal by literally including you. How long will you be here? Well, that's why I made this clock. It tells the time, but it also tells your time. Just answer a few questions, and then, when it's ready, push the red button, and the clock will begin counting down the seconds you have left to live, approximately. Now, whenever you want, you can switch it to show the time, but that's not nearly as fun. Also, this clock never forgets. If you take away its power, it'll go dark, but it's still thinking about you. Next time you plug it in, it will pick right back up where it should be. Now, if you would like a practical retro memento mori, you can pre-order one of these now. Omnis vulnerant ultima necat is Latin, and it refers to these passing seconds. It means each of these wounds, the last kills. Mox nox means soon it will be night, and it will. But while this is ticking down, something else is ticking up. The number of ghosts in the world. Your nominal ghost is your name. It's out there representing you whether you're there or not. It won't haunt the world forever, though. As we've often been reminded, you died twice. Once when your heart stops beating, and then again, usually sometime later, when your name is spoken for the last time. But whose name has been remembered the longest? Well, signed here on this 5,000-year-old tablet is the oldest written name we've ever found. Kusho, the first named character we know in the written history of humanity, probably. It's not entirely clear whether Kushum is the name of a person or just the title of an office holder. If you want to be really sure, a generation or two later, this tablet was made. It contains 3 names, Gul Sol, and 2 people he enslaved, Inpop X and a woman named Zakaljar. These individuals are the reigning champs of avoiding the second death. And with archival practices and technologies being what they are today, your name could conceivably last just as long as these have already. But I gotta say, if you want your ghosts to last longer, it helps to bend the truth a little bit. Toby Jukanov built this interactive globe that shows the most famous person born in every location. Fame is based on Wikipedia data, how long their article is, how many languages it's in, how many visits it gets per day, stuff like that. By the way, out of everyone alive right now, about this many of us, almost exactly a quarter teaspoon, are mentioned on Wikipedia. Now let's zoom in on Stillwell, Kansas. Ooh, hey there, good looking.
Wow.
But here's the thing. I wasn't born in Stillwell. I grew up there. I lived there from ages 5 to 18, but I was born in Kansas City. For a while, a lot of things online said that I was born in Stillwell, so that's probably how I wound up here. But should I correct it? What's more important? The truth or a little lie that prolongs
Canada has had enough, and it's about to strike back at America. Recently, relations between the two nations have been rocky, to say the least. The U.S. government has threatened their once friendly northern neighbors with everything from tariffs to outright annexation. But Canada has a little something up its sleeve, something the U.S. may not have seen coming. On today's episode of the Infographic Show, we'll dive into Canada's bold new plan to make the United States pay. In early 2025, the U.S. threatened Canada with a 25% tariff on all imports, a move that had everyone holding their breath. After a few delays and political back and forth, the tariffs finally went into effect on March 4th. But why did the U.S. administration impose tariffs on Canada in the first place?
Oh my
Well,
God.
according to the U.S.
Oh.
The United States claims to have over 8,000 tons of gold. But what if I told you no one's actually seen that gold in decades? Now, supposedly these bars are stored in heavily guarded vaults.
And Trump was like, "Oh, I want to see it. I want to make sure it's actually there."
Repository in Kentucky, which alone holds about 4,580 tons, almost half of the country's gold. The rest is split between the U.S. Mint and the Federal Reserve Bank of New York's vault. In total, though, the U.S. reserves have stayed at about 8,100 tons for decades, with only small changes. And the value of all this gold, or something called the book value, is set at a very specific price, $42.22 per ounce, total about $11 billion. And there's a problem. That price is way below today's market value. At recent market prices, this gold would be worth hundreds of billions of dollars. The U.S. gold reserve is a hugely valuable asset, even if its official accounting value hasn't been updated since the 1970s. But why? Surely the gold reserves are reviewed every year, right? Supposedly
No,
it
they
should
put
be.
them on commercial
It
planes
isn't.
and they get
And
stolen.
just recently, U.S. banks have been flying in thousands and thousands of gold bars from London to New York, sparking a lot of theories as to what is actually happening. So the question is, if we looked in there today, what would we find? Why doesn't the government just do an audit and tell us? And if it's missing, how would that affect ordinary people? It's one of the most interesting stories you're going to hear about, and that's what I want to share with you. So with that said, let's get into it. Hi, my name is Andre Jib. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the gold. Now, gold is part of America's mythical lore, and throughout history, there have been rumors that the United States doesn't actually have the gold it says it does. But first, I gotta ask, how did the U.S. even end up with over 8,000 tons of gold? In 1933, during the Great Depression, President Franklin Roosevelt ended the gold standard for U.S. citizens and ordered the confiscation of most privately held gold through Executive Order 6102. Americans were required to turn in all their gold coins and all their bullion to the government in exchange for paper dollars. This was super controversial at the time, and it resulted in a huge inflow of gold to the U.S. Treasury. Now, to store it, Fort Knox Depository was built in 1936, and by 1937, there were trainloads of seized and stolen gold that were moved into these new vaults. Now, as global tensions rose before World War II, the U.S. got even more gold from other countries to help them protect it, and by 1941, U.S. gold reserves peaked. By the end of 1941, Fort Knox alone held over 20,000 metric tons. Now, at that time, the U.S. controlled about 2/3 of the world's official gold, a concentration of wealth unlike any time in human history. And all of this happened because decades of trade surpluses and the influx of gold from Europe, which it gave to the U.S. for safekeeping during World War II. And gold was seen as this huge part of the monetary system. And under the 1944 Bretton Woods Agreement, the U.S. dollar was directly attached to gold at $35 per ounce. And other countries linked their money to the dollar. America's huge pile of gold gave other countries confidence in the dollar's value. Then in the 1950s, the 1960s, and the post-war decades, everything started to reverse. The U.S. gold reserves started to go down,
America started to run what are called trade deficits, and it spent a lot of money on overseas commitments. The US was sending money to countries left and right, and before long, countries started asking for their gold back in exchange for the dollars they had held, which was allowed to them under the Bretton Woods Agreement. And systematically, gold flowed out of US vaults to pay other countries. And US holdings fell from the World War II peak, and by 1971, US gold reserves were down to about the same level they are today. So what did the US do? It was kind of a rug pull. President Richard Nixon closed the gold window on August 15, 1971, ending the convertibility of the dollar into gold. This action broke the Bretton Woods Agreement, and it put the world on a pure fiat, or paper currency, standard. At that point, the United States decided to keep what was left of the gold rather than continue allowing people to redeem it. So the next question is, if the US dollar is not backed by gold anymore, why does the Federal Reserve supposedly have so much gold still? And the truth is, it doesn't. In reality, the Federal Reserve does not directly own any of the country's gold since 1934, because all the federal gold was turned over to the Treasury. But the Fed does have a claim on it in the form of a gold certificate issued by the Treasury. This gold certificate is recorded on the Fed's balance sheet, sort of like its portfolio of assets, which totals gold at about $11 billion. That represents the nation's entire official gold stock. So the Federal Reserve holds the certificate, and the physical gold stays in the Treasury's vaults. Now, even though the US dollar is no longer backed by gold reserves, there's still an important part of what gives the dollar its perceived value. Because ever since 1973, the gold has been fixed at this $42 per ounce rate, which totals $11 billion on paper. But in reality, the market's value is way higher. However, the Treasury does not do what's called mark to market the asset. And that's why any increase in gold's market price today is not reflected in their official accounts. So the question is, why hold all of that gold? And why the US has so much gold is because it's seen as a hedge against currency risk. Senator Rand Paul.
You are the most boring person on the fucking planet Earth.
call last week, I will reject all attempts to weaken Canada.
That was the message from Canada's Prime Minister, Mark Carney, delivered not with hesitation, but with surgical precision. As Washington circles July 31st on the calendar, preparing to unleash a 35% tariff on Canadian steel, auto parts, and softwood lumber, worth over $35 billion in exports, something unexpected happened. Canada didn't blink. Instead, Carney drew a line in the snow. No deal is better than a bad one. It's a showdown that feels more like a reversal of roles. The United States, once the anchor of free trade and global alliances, is now playing hardball with its closest neighbor. Canada, polite, pragmatic Canada, is refusing to play along. This isn't just about trade. It's about power, pride, and the price of independence. And as 2.3 million Canadian jobs hang in the balance, the question is no longer, what will Trump do next? It's, how far is Canada willing to go to walk away? Because when a smaller nation stops fearing the giant next door, it's not just diplomacy at risk, it's the illusion of dominance. July 22nd, 2025. A sleepy lakeside town in Ontario, Huntsville, is suddenly transformed. Instead of vacationers and cottage lights, it hosts a closed-door summit that feels more like a political bunker. Across the border, Washington presses ahead with a 35% tariff threat on nearly all Canadian goods, from steel and softwood lumber to a mountain of auto parts. That's a whopping $35 billion in exports hanging in the balance, just the kind of disruption Trump loves to tout. But Canada, under Prime Minister Mark Carney, looks at the clock, calculates risk, and says, no deal is better than a bad deal. He's not bluffing. Carney, a former governor of the Bank of England turned Canadian leader, is the kind of man who might remind you that a good deal is one built on dignity, not desperation. He stood before country leaders and reiterated, we will not accept a bad deal, not even if it costs billions. That's not just bravado. That's a negotiating strategy that turns the U.S. deadline into a rhetorical weapon. Meanwhile, in Ontario, provincial premiers are watching closely. Doug Ford, Danielle Smith, and Francois Legault aren't exactly waving flags, but they cautiously back Carney's stand. After all, 2.3 million Canadian jobs depend on industries like steel, 14 billion, autos, 23 billion, and lumber, 6 billion. It's not just a trade spat, it's a test of sovereignty. Canada decides they'd rather brace for impact than sign away their future for temporary access to the world's biggest market. Canada had drawn its line in the snow. But what exactly is a bad deal? And why is Carney so ready to walk?
Because it won't be you starving. Go fucking back home. Go hang out with the fucking royal family. Piece of shit.
Hello, and thanks for joining us. Here's what's happening right now. Ceasefire ultimatum. The UK's demands to Israel as it plans to recognize a Palestinian state.
And the appalling situation in Gaza.
Where Canada stands as the humanitarian crisis deepens.
It's humid out here. It's really intense.
Weathering the scorching heat. How long it will last.
Yeah, I would ship that.
Plus, friendship or fireworks, the fan frenzy over a surprise sighting.
CTV National News with Sandy Ronaldo.
Hello, I'm Marcia McMillan in today for Sandy. The United Kingdom announced its plan today to recognize a Palestinian state, pressing Israel to halt the war in Gaza. It follows a similar statement from France last week, adding to the roughly 140 countries that already recognize an independent Palestinian state. This comes as starvation mounts in the enclave and a grim new milestone in the number of Palestinians killed since the start of the war. CTV's Javier Boschman reports.
In the face of suffering in Gaza, of images of starving babies, children too weak to stand, Britain said it had to.
Well, these are not going to be particularly trustworthy advisors. So something's got to give you. Something's got to give you. Either it was a bigger earthquake than the USGS said, or it's a smaller earthquake than currently the U.S. Tsunami Warning Center is saying. I keep checking USGS. They have not updated it. EMSC, have they updated it? All right. No, they have it 8.0, 7.0, and 6.3. Right? So they have not updated either. So I don't know where this 8.7 is coming from.
Oh, shit. Earthquake, 8.0 earthquake off of Russia coast.
Again,
there's a tsunami threat.
Just show you these new batch of warnings that came out or advisories that just came out based on an 8.7 number. It's weird to think they would be mistaken about that, but it's a weird situation right now. Okay, this one says, this said there was an 8.7, and it said hazardous tsunami waves are forecast for some coasts. It claims that tsunami waves reaching more than 3 meters above the tide level are possible along some coasts of northwestern Hawaiian Islands and Russia. But it says tsunami waves reaching 1 to 3 meters are possible along some coasts of Guam, Hawaii, Japan, Johnson Atoll, Midway.
Hi. Oh, Oh, this is all bullshit. See, this is the British Prime Minister. He's in a lot of shit right now because he just got caught. He's going to be the fall guy for his entire party, and his entire party says he's going to have to pull a Nixon. He's going to have to resign. And I think that Canada thought that he would back them up, but they will not.
South Park has officially returned, just when the world needed it most. Go ahead and cancel your therapy sessions because the greatest show of all time is back. I genuinely can't believe it's been over 2 years since we got the last.
Season 27. Sorry. Three episodes?
We'll check on HD. Whatever that's called. Is that season 27? Yeah.
Yeah, Trump's freaking out about it.
So we got one episode?
Yeah.
Sweet. That's good. I'm happy. Give me. Wait.
Alexa, put on 90.1. Got it. Now playing radio station 90.1 FM. Mom, something's wrong with my favorite show. It's just like static. Your favorite show? Yeah, NPR, National Public Radio, where all the liberals bitch and whine about stuff. Something's wrong with it. Oh, sweetie, the president canceled it. What do you mean the president canceled NPR? That's like the funniest shit ever. I don't know what to tell you, hon. Oh my God. You guys are not going to believe this. The president of the United States canceled NPR. What's NPR? What's NPR? The funniest show ever where all the lesbians and Jews complain about stuff? The fucking president had to take it off the air. I mean, who the hell does the president think he is? The government can't cancel the show. I mean, what show are they going to cancel next? It was seriously that show. They had like gay rappers from Mexico all stabbed and girls in Pakistan got stoned to death. And guess why they got stoned to death? Because they were raped. It was hilarious. Why would anyone cancel that? I don't know about you, but I'm worried about what this country's coming to. It seems like everybody's changing, and suddenly woke stuff is off limits. I mean, it's like now everyone rips on the Jews, and it's totally fine. Look how. See? What's wrong with Cal? Everybody's giving up.
Attention students, there will be a mandatory assembly this morning. All students
Let's report to the gym.
Oh, my love.
Oh boy, PC principal. He's not giving up.
All right, everyone, listen up. Everybody quiet! There's some bullcrap going on in this country, and I'm not going to let it corrupt the environment in this school.
Ah, here we go.
Now, I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of the way people are treated and mocked for being compassionate. It is out of control.
Right.
There's only one thing that can bring some normalcy back to these corrupt times, and that is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This school has traded truth for comfort and worships idols of self and sin. We were a nation under God, but now we spit in his face and wonder why everything's falling apart. There's only one way back. Repent, bow to Christ, or be swept away with the rest of the godless lies.
What the hell, dude?
In order to turn things around, I'm going to be a power Christian principal.
Oh my gosh.
So now, I'd like you all to put your hands together in welcoming Christ our Lord.
Hello, my children. I am the light and the way.
Fellas, what the fuck is going on?
Yea, it is wonderful to be here. For where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there am I with them.
That's right.
That's right.
Let's go, Jesus. Fuck yeah.
That's good, Jesus. Okay. Therefore, I am here.
So, how was your day, guys? Anything fun happen at school?
No, not really. Jesus showed up.
His nose is cold.
Jesus?
Yeah,
No.
What's Jesus doing in your school?
I don't know.
I don't think Jesus is allowed to be in school.
Yeah, well, he was there.
Well, I think I'm going to have to talk to somebody about this.
Yes,
Hey,
Randy.
how's it going? Is Jesus supposed to be allowed in schools?
Generally, the idea is that public schools have to maintain a separation of church and state, so they can't promote any one religion.
Yeah, that's what I thought. The government can't force a religion on my son.
Public schools can teach about religions in a neutral educational way, but they can't endorse any particular one. Was it a lesson on all world religions?
No, my son said Jesus was literally at his school.
Then you're probably right to be concerned. It's good you're looking out for your son's education.
Thanks. It's really nice to have someone to talk to about all this.
No worries. Let me know if there's any other way I can help. I'm always here.
You're so awesome. Thanks. Good night, honey.
Have a great sleep, and I'm sure you'll do more amazing things tomorrow.
Yeah.
Butters! Ah! Butters, get over here. What am I telling you? This shit is whack. PC principal? If he's chasing, there's no hope. I think I know what's happening. I think Woke is dead.
What? Woke is dead?
Woke is dead? It's dead, Butters. It's gone. You can just stay retarded now. Nobody cares. Everyone hates the Jews. Everyone's fine with gay slurs. Oh, that's not good. No, it's terrible. Because now I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Eric?
More protest today as the government pushes harder for Christianity in our nation's schools. The president stated earlier today that the spirit of Jesus is important to our country, and he will sue anyone who doesn't agree with him.
What the hell is this president doing? He doesn't even act like a Christian. Why is he pushing it on our kids?
I told you this was all going to be bad, but a lot of you here voted for him.
Yeah, I voted for him, but all I've seen him do is arrest and sue people. I voted for him to get rid of all the woke stuff. But now that retarded faggot is just putting money in his own pockets.
Yeah, are we just going to sit here and let him break every rule of freedom? No.
Well, come on, let's go get that son of a bitch. Come on out, you piece of shit. We're unelecting you.
Excuse me, do you mind?
What the hell do you think you're doing, Garrison?
I'm not doing anything.
Oh, so you haven't been looting the country and ruling by fear like some Middle Eastern tin pot dictator?
No, I've been sitting here watching White Lotus with Rick.
But you got reelected. He hasn't been back to Washington in years. He gave all that up. He's been really good.
But if he's here, then who's the retarded faggot in the White House?
Wow.
Yeah.
Of course, it's Trump.
Mr. President, sir, the Prime Minister of Canada is here to see you.
Mr. President, why are you placing these new tariffs on Canada?
Carney.
What are you, some kind of dictator from the Middle East?
Ah.
Dictator from the Middle East? Hey, relax, guy. I'm just your average Joe. Take a
The
ride.
last dictator that
People
I
in
guess.
Canada will not be
Saddam
denied
Hussein.
like this.
Come on. You don't want me to bomb you like I did Iraq.
I thought you just bombed Iran.
Iraq. What the hell's the difference? Relax, guy. Hey, what the fuck is this, brother?
This is the painting you asked for, sir.
Where's my digital stuff?
But that's the size it is in the photo.
Get this guy out of here. I'm gonna sue you. I'm gonna sue both of you. Nobody makes fun of me and gets away with it. Hey, Satan.
Just like
Don't
fucking
walk in my
Saddam.
mouth.
What? Hey, relax. Come on, Satan. I've been working hard all day.
You haven't been working, you've been doing your stupid memes and just fucking around.
Give me the bill. You know you can't resist this.
I can't even see anything, it's so small.
I'll fucking sue you.
God, fuck you!
Come on, Satan. Don't be like that.
Of course he doesn't like it. Wow. He went far. He went really far.
Because they know they're going to get sued over this.
Yeah.
Eric? Come on, Eric. You can't keep doing this to yourself.
I used to laugh, Butters. I used to have fun. But now they've taken that away. I'm not special anymore. So what's the point in me even existing?
Eric, what are you saying?
I'm saying that it's the end, Butters. I'm gonna kill myself. And you.
And you.
Wait, me?
It's a suicide pact, Butters. It's just best we end it now.
No, Eric, listen to me. Woke isn't dead. It's still out there, somewhere. Just waiting to come back.
It's not coming back.
It's waiting to come back. It's like a little tiny light that's gonna shine again. You just gotta give it some time.
I hope you're right, Butters. But it doesn't come back by like Tuesday. I'm killing us both.
Mr. Marsh, I've called you into my office because I understand that you have a problem with Jesus in our schools.
Oh, God.
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I think it's kind of weird.
Mr. Mackey says you were bullying Jesus and wouldn't let him sit at your table in the cafeteria.
What? I didn't bully him. Craig told him our table was full, which it was.
Mr. Marsh, Christ died for your sins and he loves us all. There's only one truth, one cross, and one Savior. And you will find it in your heart.
PC principal?
Power Christian principle, yes.
What happened?
What happened with what?
Well, you used to be like super woke, and then starting last November, you started acting weird, and now you're super Christian.
I just realized that the side I was on was...
Because you notice all the celebrities now are all of a sudden born again Christians. Like someone's in trouble, obviously.
And he shall give you rest.
Dude, what's going on? Like, none of this seems normal.
That's the kind of attitude we are not going to tolerate at this school. And Mr. Marsh, if you don't accept Christ, then I'm going to have to expel you.
Okay, I'm pretty sure you can't do that. Like, I think that's illegal.
No, Mr. Marsh, it's not illegal anymore. This is 2025, okay? And not much is illegal.
I accept Christ into my heart. And in my school.
And at your table in the cafeteria.
There wasn't any room at my table. And at my table in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Faith in Christ.
Mr. President, a lot of your supporters are starting to turn against you.
Tell them to take a rest.
Sir, can you please talk to them? They're really riled up.
All right, give me that. Hey, relax, guy.
Yeah, hi. What do you think you're doing? Our children are being told that they have to sit with Jesus at lunchtime?
Listen, buddy, you just need to relax. All this protesting makes me look bad. Just get go rest.
Well, no, we're not going to give it a rest. All the people here in South Park want some goddamn answers.
All right, then I'm going to sue your whole town. You got that? $5 billion.
What'd he say? He said he's suing us for $5 billion.
Stupid idiots. They think you mess with me, huh?
I'm not in the mood right now. Another random bitch commented on my Instagram that you're on the Epstein list.
The Epstein list? Are we still talking about that?
Well, are you on the list or not? It's weird that whenever it comes up, you just tell everyone to relax.
I'm not telling everyone to relax. Relax, guy.
No, I need counseling. You remind me more and more of this other guy I used to date. Like, a lot. Like, you guys are exactly alike.
I love you.
Butters, honey, your little friend Cartman is here. He said it's Tuesday and you guys have plans.
Eric? Oh, no. Can you tell me I'm not home?
Butters, don't be antisocial. Go play with your friend. He's out in the garage playing in our car with a hose.
Oh, no! Oh, God, Eric!
Hey, Butters, come on in.
Eric, no! Get out of there!
That's not clock, Butters. You gotta get on the other side.
Eric, you don't have to
Close
do
the
this.
door, Butters.
You can't get up. You're letting all the fumes out. Shut the fucking door. You can't just get up like everyone else has.
Butters, it's over. You really want to sit around for weeks waiting for it to organize?
Well, no.
Well, neither do I. It's taking too long. There you go, Butters. Buckle up, ready for the last ride.
All right, stop.
Second in, Butters. We're heading for that big world kingdom in the sky.
Oh, take it.
This is 60 Minutes. Oh, boy. Oh, shit. Oh, God. The small town of South Park, Colorado is protesting against the president. The townspeople claim that the president, who is a great man,
A great man.
great guy, we know he's probably watching, and we are just reporting on this town in Colorado that's being sued by the president, and they are fighting back.
And just to be clear, we don't agree with them.
No. We think these protesters are total retards, but our own Jim Connor has more. Oh, God. Tom, I'm here with the townspeople speaking out against the president. It all started when a father got upset that Jesus was being forced on his son at school. Young Stan Marsh is questioning the president's policies. I don't know. I don't know why he's questioning the president. He's probably a faggot or something. Townspeople say they owe the president nothing. We aren't going to be told what to do by anyone. We all know the woke stuff went too far, but the answer isn't going too far the other way. It's not a bad thing to have a little compassion for people. It's not a bad thing to care a little for the environment. The Stotch family is proud to say that we own an electric car.
Boy, it sure is taking a long time. Yeah, the human body does everything it can in the final stages to try and cling to life. Shouldn't be much longer now.
Things are really heating up in the small town of South Park. More and more citizens are uniting in solidarity against what they call the president's oppression. The townspeople are saying things are never hopeless, that they must all stand strong for what they believe in. We're in this for the long haul, guys. This is about what's right, and we will fight even if we have to do it alone.
Wait! We don't have to do it alone! Look!
It's Jesus! Let us break bread. Break bread with me.
This is my body, given for you. Do this in remembrance of me.
Maybe make tornadoes?
Okay. Now just eat the bread and listen.
Oh my god.
I didn't want to come out and be in the school, but I had to because it was part of a lawsuit.
Fucking idiot. I go, so, hey, when is looking better for tomorrow? I don't think it will rain. Was wondering how I'm getting to work if it doesn't. He goes, anyway, you can get 37:45-ish. Everybody's on this side of the highway. I'm like, I was just asking because I can just drive there tomorrow morning. Just give me the address. Fucking idiot.
I can't understand you.
Assuming already I'm asking
Tom, they're calling it the Sermon on the Mount.
No, I'm explicitly not going to show up late.
Flocking
Like,
to the area where Jesus Christ continues to speak his
fucking,
words
I don't
of
need
wisdom.
this shit from you. Like, fucking.
And take bribes, and you can do anything to anyone. It's the fucking president, dude. All of you shut the fuck up. The South Park is over. It's fucking over. Just stop it. Shut the fuck up.
Yes, sir. Oh, okay. Absolutely. Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We'll be happy to pay that, sir. Yes, sir. I will relax and I'll take a rest. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we settled.
Oh, thank God.
I got the president down to $3.5 million.
$3.5 million. That's not so bad. That's really fair. I think that's fair.
I think
We'll
that's
just
fair.
have to cut some funding for our schools and hospitals and roads, and that should be that.
Yeah, well, that's not quite all. As part of the settlement, we also had to agree to doing pro-Trump messaging.
How are we supposed to do pro-Trump messaging?
Come on, guys.
What?
We're Southport. We can do it.
Yeah.
We just got to work together.
Yeah, you guys some cereal and stuff like that?
I missed that. What?
You want to end up the culture?
It's Jesus!
Okay, well, I'm gonna make my phone close.
Let us break bread. Break bread with me.
This is my body, given for you. Do this in remembrance of me. Now just eat the bread and listen. I didn't want to come out and be in the school, but I had to because it was part of a lawsuit and the agreement with Paramount.
President suing you?
The girl can do whatever who wants me to see back then. Eat the bread, eat the bread. You guys saw what happened to CBS? You don't want us to own CBS? Paramount. You really want to end up the culture? You guys gotta stop being stupid.
I can't understand you.
Just shut up. We're going to get pissed, you idiots.
Tom, they're calling it the Sermon on the Mount. Hundreds of South Park faithful are flocking to the area where Jesus Christ continues to speak his words of wisdom.
If someone has the power of the presidency and also has the power to sue and take bribes, then he can do anything to anyone. It's the fucking president, dude. All of you shut the fuck up. The South Park is over. It's fucking over. Just stop and shut the fuck up.
Wow, awkward.
Yes, sir. Oh, okay. Absolutely. Yes, thank you, Mr. President.
That's all you have to
We'll
do.
be happy to pay
It's
that.
literally all you have to
Yes,
do.
sir. I will relax and I'll take a rest.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's so fucking difficult.
Okay,
Like,
we settled.
We settled. Thank God.
I got the president down to $3.5 million.
$3.5 million. That's not so bad. That's really fair. I think that's fair.
We'll just have to cut some funding for our schools and hospitals and roads, and that should be that.
Yeah, well, that's not quite all. As part of the settlement, we also had to agree to doing pro-Trump messaging.
How are we supposed to do pro-Trump messaging?
Come on, guys, we're South Park. We can do it.
Yeah.
We just gotta work together.
So he's pretty much saying that everybody that voted for Trump, are people that got fucking sued.
Who survived the wilderness and gave the ultimate sacrifice? When things heat up, who will deliver us from temptation? Donald J. Trump. No matter how hot it gets, he's not afraid to fight for America.
wow.
With conviction, discipline, and trust in God, he
Gross.
survived the desert.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I endorse this message.
Trump. His penis is teeny tiny, but his love for us is large.
He gets us. All of us.
TrumpTest.com. Oh.
Oh, I think I might be going. Yep, sweet death is about to come. I love you, man.
Did it help to get down?
No.
Yes. Coming?
What? Where did my thing go? Hang on 2 seconds. I need a cart. Oh, you're gonna be fucking kidding. Hi, baby. With that face. Oh wait, I have to wrap this first. Oh.
What's this? Fucking. Not too tight. Not too tight. Not too tight.
Yeah, can you turn the AC off?
Why?
God, fucking my foot is numb.
You're a foot.
I can't tell if it's from the cut or from the fucking cold air conditioner.
Fucking thing.